Welcome to the countdown. While you wait for the show to begin, try to relax, grab a drink, sit down, and just enjoy the music.
Yeah. Ooh, whoa.
Don't Christina it out.
Okay. Diamond drills, high pressure on. Black gold show suits you. Bump it for me, yeah. You frack it well. Rigs work non-stop all day long. Filling barrels with crude oil. Sell them for me, yeah. You frack it well.
She looks metallic.
Though I can't quite recall overnight sensation.
Welcome everybody to another episode of The Chop. This week we have season 13, episode 8, the RUSICAL. Now, I hope you all had a nice week. I had kind of a not such a good week. So, before we begin, let's greet everybody in the chat. There are a ton of people. So give me like 5 minutes of time so that I can say hello to everyone. We have Sasha, Jack, Fantasia, Lena Clark, Corinne Mercury, Seneca, Jules, TikTok Meltdown, Robin Barron, Scroll, Amateur Season, Kylie Wilson, Zoe, who else is there? Lady Baconator, it's our usual gang, Felicia, Kevin, Zoe, I cannot remember who I said already, there is so many comments, Brian Rios, Luisa, Bolivia, I remember you from the comments. I remember you. Who else? Did I miss somebody? Illusion System, Beatrice, Melanie, welcome Melanie, Nora, my god, it's so many people, Adrian, Jessica, my god, we are getting famous. You guys, we are really getting famous with this shit show. It's incredible, isn't it? My god, it's out of my mind. It's so many. Thank you so much for coming. Now, I read in the comment that someone kind of binge watched the past live streams. Well, I'm happy that those bring you joy. Especially for Jules, who has not been very well this past week. She left it in a comment, so a round of applause for Jules. Recovery fast, and I'm happy that we could entertain you while you stay in bed. Now, this week we start with some bad news and a tiny bit of good news. So before we begin with this review, let's go through the bad news, shall we? This one, it's fresh, right out of the bed from half an hour ago. Apparently, an agent from our dear Viacom decided to do a little sweep on our channel, and they blocked the video. It's a parody video called RuPaul's Frack Race. It was, how can I say? It was a joke on episode 11 of season 12. And it's bad. It's really bad. And I can explain you why. Because these things are manually flagged. So it didn't happen because of the algorithm. Somebody actually virtually came to the channel and started sweeping the videos and said, oh, what do you have here? You have a parody with videos? No. That we can only do. You cannot do that. I don't give a shit about fair use. Click. Blocked in the U.S. So, I'm happy that a lot of you have checked our library of videos, whatever is left on YouTube, because if they flagged one, they're going to swap to a ton of other ones. And I can tell you already, if you are an old viewer on the shop and you've been here last year, we went through fighting 2 copyright claims. One we won, one we lost. And I don't have the strength to... how can I say, to defend all of our videos. Some will remain blocked, some will be deleted and will go in the backup channel on BitChute. And for one, I will actually fight, but I don't have infinite resources. I cannot pay for consultation every time. So I will defend only one, which will be the top 10 editing magic. That I will defend and I will stand my ground on that one. All the other one, it's been good as long as it lasted. So, you know, we have a backup channel. We also have a Patreon with the link for the backup channel. I cannot leave it here on YouTube for obvious reason, but all of our posts on Patreon, they are completely free. I don't lock anything in there. So if you want to go there, check the link or check anything else, there is absolutely no problem. There's a link in the description for that. Now that we've done that, are we done with the bad news? Absolutely not. Because last, what was it, Wednesday, I thought, you know what, it was Wednesday night. I thought, you know what, I deserve a good bath. And I was feeling my hopes, you know, I was feeling really, really faggoty. So I took a ton of dish soap. Dish soap? No, not dish soap. Oh my God, I sound like a troglodyte. I took a ton of bath soap and filled the tub completely to have a ton of bubble baths. If you know what I mean. Like a ton of bubbles. And I had my laptop in the cheap IKEA table next to me, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to relax in the tub. I'm going to watch a classic Star Trek episode, maybe The Inner Lights, maybe The Measure of a Man, you know, and really relax, have my time, fill my hopes. And then I went in the tub, and I slipped because it was full of soap. I slipped like a 70-year-old man. So, as you can imagine, I was gifted with a third butt cheek, with somebody might find interesting in a way. But also, I had a wave of water falling onto my laptop. My laptop was literally dripping water. So, as you can imagine, I was extremely amused. I jumped out of the tub, switched everything off, dismantled everything, took out all the parts, all the electronic parts that I could take out, washed the soap out with water, then washed the water out with alcohol, dry everything the best that I could. But unfortunately, the keyboard of the laptop is riveted. It's fucking riveted in the chassis of the laptop. So I thought I had everything out, but I didn't. And this week, it started happening on Thursday. It went completely mad today, because probably there's some corrosion going on in there. And the worst happened. The keyboard started registering random presses of the buttons. It was impossible to work. It was actually so bad that I had to open the machine again and physically disconnect the keyboard and the touchpad. So now I'm currently working with an external keyboard. I don't know if you can hear it. It's so amusing. It's so 1996. So for the moment it's working, but this laptop could die at any time at this point. And this is a really bad news, because we were actually saving from the Patreon, from the money that we get from the monetization on the channel, to actually get new equipment for the channel, you know, new microphone, new screen, new desktop computer, one that can actually encode videos in less than 8 hours for a change. And this is a huge problem, because this adds on to the expenses for fighting the copyright claims. So we are basically fucked in a way. That's what's going to happen. If this computer dies, I cannot just go out and buy a new machine. I will need to take, some times to think exactly which kind of machine I need, which kind of requirements. how to invest my money in the best possible way, because I want a machine that will last at least 5-6 years. I don't just want to buy something that will be completely useless in a couple years. So long story short, we might miss some episode at some point. We might not be here for some live stream, probably only one, depending on if I don't think that the machine will die, because I checked the motherboard and everything after washing it, double washing it, everything seemed fine. So it will be just a little bit more difficult to work because it's an external keyboard. I'll probably get a new one for like $10 or something. But if it dies from a moment to another, I will be in complete blackout for about a week or 10 days. So I will pop on Discord, leave a message on Twitter, leave a message on the community section on YouTube, let you know that this has actually happened. We are going to come back. We'll probably just need a little bit of time to, get a proper machine. And basically with whatever we have left, once we paid our taxes, we'll still get a new screen, a new microphone. Those are the priorities. And the proper desktop will have to wait. But it could be worse. Could be much worse. I mean, and I don't know how many other people know how to open everything, clean everything, have the materials and so on. So it could be much worse. Good God. What a week of hell. Now, what are the good news? The good news is that I went on Discord this week, and I thought, you know what? Let me ask the viewers from the U.S. if they can note down all the all the commercials that go on during Drag Race. Why is that important? Well, that is important because basically the money to Drag Race comes from the commercials on VH1. Then, of course, World of Wonder gets money from licensing, like Drag Race UK, Drag Race Down Under, and so on and so forth. They get money from DragCon and so on, but the bulk of the money comes from VH1, and it comes from the advertisement. So if we get an idea of who the advertisers actually want to advertise to, we can get a little bit more insight of the war that is going behind the scene between World of Wonder and VH1, because World of Wonder apparently likes its viewership younger and younger, stupider and stupider, while VH1 prefers to hit the mark on the 18 to 49 demographic, because these are the people who actually have earned the money, can spend the money and bring money in. So when will this data be ready? I hope for the next live stream, because I didn't have time for this live stream. I won't have time to do it during the next episode, but it will come out probably during the next live stream. And we'll take a little bit of a look at that and see what comes in. Okay. Now that we spent 15 minutes goofing around, let's finally get to the review for this episode, shall we? So we are back in the workroom, and we are greeted with a train of bitch-facing from Utica. It goes on for like 3 minutes. She's not doing anything else. She's just bitch-facing to Olivia. And if you remember what I told you last episode, what did I tell you? The tea on these two is going to be frozen solid. There is no way these two are going to fight. And in fact, they don't fight at all. Because we are greeted to a confessional of Utica that is actually praising Olivia. This is our drama. Utica praising Olivia. And at some point, the shadiest we get is Utica joking about Olivia winning with that edges, those hedges, which is fair. It's a little bit of a read, but it's absolutely fair. This is the most dramatic that we get between these two. It's incredible, isn't it? So, of course, by the end of the episode, we have Olivia, who is one of the sweetest queen who has ever been on the race. A little bit shady. Finally, we see a little bit of character from Olivia. Thank you, editors. And then we have Utica. Utica is really like chill, down to her. She doesn't give a shit. So by the end of the episode, we get into a tact. And these two are basically 69ing on the couch. We have this moment. After they're declared safe, I was like, that's it. This is the moment Drag Race is going to transform into a porn. Those old 80s porn with a saxophone playing in the background. This is what was happening. I was imagining the whole thing. And Olivia In my fantasy, Olivia was like, Utica, did you know that I used to be big? And Utica looks at her and says, baby, you still are. Oh, good God. So we move back to the workroom, and this is what we get. It's basically a room full of horny men. And you might think you are projecting. You are horny. They're not horny. And I might tell you, yeah, maybe you are right, because my partner actually went away for the weekend. So, you know, maybe I'm projecting a little bit. But let me leave my fantasy for a moment. Let me leave it, okay? They're all horny. This is the theme for the whole episode. This is not the RuSical. This is 10 horny men that are doing drag on Drag Race, and they have to survive with it. By this time, they've been for almost 2 weeks in isolation. And let me tell you something. Isolation is hard. It gets really, really, really hard. So the theme is everybody is horny. This is not the RuSical. It's the hornsicle, or however you want to call it. So Ru comes in. TikTok meltdown. What's the matter? I grabbed an orange and came back and got treated to this. Oh, that's fantastic. Aren't you happy? It is crazy, isn't it? So RuPaul is back, and we don't have a mini advertisement. We don't have it. I don't know if they ran out of money. I don't know if nobody was interested. I don't know if RuSicals have kind of a bad thing around them, but we didn't have a mini advertisement. Guys, where are they getting their money? Poor World of Wonder. We should send them some money because of this. So, no mini advertisement, but Ru comes in and announces, ooh, it's the RuSical. Or, as I really like to call it, the Sweatsicle. But more on that later. So we are greeted to some fake drama between Denali, Utica, Rosé. Basically, Denali has 2 choices of characters. But those 2 choices, one is the first choice of Utica, and the other one is the first choice of Rosé. So we have this, you know, dramatic moment in which they are fighting for the part that they want to get. And Utica is standing her ground, and so Rosé and Denali had to be a little bit of a singing fight. And I don't know if you noticed, but when Rosé starts singing, she has music playing under her singing. When it's Denali's turn, there is nothing. 0. Silence. You can hear the crickets. So at that moment, I knew exactly what was going to happen. Rosé was going to get the part, and Denali had to suck it up. And a lot of you have speculated, since this part was still in the preview, that maybe Denali and Rosé would finally fight. And guess what? They don't. They don't at all. Because by the time we get to Untuck, they are making out as well. While Utica and Olivia are going down to business on the sofa, you have Denali and Rosé doing it in front of the mirror, because for an extra kink, watch your partner in the mirror while he's hitting you from behind. Why not? Try it. You might get surprised. You might get surprised. Oh my God. I don't know what they put in the water this episode. It was crazy. Jules, this was Rosé's episode. It absolutely was. It absolutely was. Why what? But I have a question for you. Why was it really Rosé's episode? Because it was not because of the RuSical. You know, all of this time, Rosé has been sitting on a big old secret. And I'm not talking about that bit of extra skin that she might have due to the fact that she was born in Europe. You perverted people. I don't know what's going on through your mind. This is disgusting. I'm talking about something else. Of course I'm talking about something else. Well, maybe. Maybe I'm talking about something else. Now, this episode, we find out that Rosé can actually bend time and space. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. She is a Time Lord. She is right out of Doctor Who. So this confessional from Rosé has been served to us since episode 3. Constantly, all of the time. And I am thinking, because I noticed it, I started noticing it, and I thought, well, surely, you know, they took bits and pieces and spread them in every episode, like they do with every other. And then I started noticing, but wait a moment, she is talking about the actual episode. And it's episode 3. And then it goes to episode 4, and she's talking about episode 4. And then it gets to episode 8, this episode, and she's talking about this episode. So I'm like, Rosé, what happened to you? Did you come back to film the Meet the Queens and they told you, Rosé, you need to sit there. You are not convincing enough when you win the RuSical. You have to shit a little bit on Lala because she will have to get out. And also please praise Simone because she's the hero of the season. She needs a little bit of praise. And you know, and Rosé is like, yes, sure, I can sit and film some more confessionals 3 months after we finish filming everything. It's completely normal. It's real. I swear, guys, it's real. Everything you see in television is real. So Rosé finally joins the ranks of the queens who allegedly refilmed confessionals months after filming was over. And you might think, by the time they are sitting on that couch deciding and assigning the roles, how many temporal incursion we had from Rosé? And I can tell you, we had 9. But by the time we get to the end of the episode, we are going to get over a dozen already. Over a dozen. Oh, before I play the video, let's go to the chat. Beatrice, what did you put in your energy drink? What did do? It's just, I swear, it's just as it came from the grocery store. I swear. So I have a video for you. And isn't it, I prepared it actually on Thursday, the video, and I published it in the community section. But you know what happens in our community section? YouTube never sends out notifications. It doesn't matter if you are subscribed. It doesn't matter if you ring the bell. It doesn't matter if you ring the bell and asked to receive all the notifications. Nobody saw this video. It's like it never existed. Jules, do you think Rosé has joined the elite queens who have been edited to be to the top? That's a possibility, but we will talk about it in the speculation section. We are going to keep the review absolutely speculation and spoiler free, and then we will move to the speculation and talk about all of this thing. So let's check out a history of time with our favorite queens, Rosé.
So it's time for the mini challenge, and it is a fashion show, and I am so fucking excited. The theme is Lady and the Vamp, so I hope we're all ready for this. This is the kind of shit I do back in New York. I am a singer, I am a dancer, and there is a whole bonfire under my ass after almost being sent home last week. I've got to slay this challenge. I feel a lot of pressure right now. This would be complete redemption from last week.
Rhythm, good?
All right.
Yes.
Simone was really quiet in rehearsal. All of a sudden, she's the loudest bitch in the room. I gotta make sure that I'm as fierce as she is.
What should we do?
I'm a little worried for Lala. Her performance is a little boring.
And beautiful ladies, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Great job, great job, great job.
Our choreography is definitely the most challenging out of all the girls. My biggest concern for this challenge is winning. At the end of the scene, I feel great. We fucking killed it. The RuSical is very important to me. I've been waiting for it. I've been excited about it. I am the singer of the cast. I need to showcase that. Baby, I need to make sure I get the part for me.
It's literally Don't Rain on My Parade, one of my go-to songs.
Foxy's big song is a spoof of Don't Rain on My Parade, made famous by my idol, Barbra Streisand. Baby, that is a sign.
So then that leaves you with the Russian.
Isn't Rosé a magical queen? Well, I hope I convinced you after this one. Now, in the chat, I'm reading something from Music Lover. Music Lover is saying Candy is annoying. Now, let's set the language in here. Candy might be annoying, but she is being portrayed as annoying in the show. Let's keep the difference really clear there, because none of these queens are actually in control of the way they are being portrayed. Things have been nitpicked, taken, and then shown to us. So she might be annoying out of the show, but from the show we cannot really say. So let's be, you know, all of these queens are sacrificing a lot to be on the show. They spent a ton of money, they're under pressure, all of the same things that I repeat all of the time. Let at least take 5 seconds to think the way we talk about them, okay? Now, TikTok meltdown. Rosé is a wizard, and oh god, no, I cannot say that. I cannot say that. Yes, she's a wizard. So after this moment on the couch, we have a guest, and Hathaway is here, and she's actually giving useful suggestions to the queen. Let it sink in for a moment, because this never happens. Usually, do you remember when we had Stuart Beaver? He didn't give a shit about anyone. It was like, this is my purse, buy it. This is the kind of guests that you usually have. So she was actually in a live chat, in a live video chat with all of them. She was actually giving good advices to the queen, and it was so refreshing to watch. You know, for once, because we get treated all of the time with RuPaul basically, you know, punching them while giving advices, you know, ridiculing them, putting them in a bad headspace. So for once, it was nice to see somebody actually helping. Finally, it was refreshing to watch. It was nice. It was really a nice moment. So after all of this, we are in recording session with Michelle Visage and Randy Newman, I think, because the one that wrote the RUSICAL. So everybody is basically standing there. They are going to record their lyrics, because this is a RUSICAL. They are not allowed to sing live. It's too much to ask, you know. Actually hear them singing, so that the one who could actually hold a note will get to shine, and all the other ones will have to, you know, do the best with what they have. I don't care about hearing people singing when they cannot sing. I don't care at all. But autotune, that really gets to me. I hate autotune. It's so fake. It literally screams fakeness all of the time. So, but unfortunately, we have autotune. So the queens are here to record the lyrics in front of Michelle Visage. And after watching, where am I? Sorry, I lost everything on the list. Oh yeah, there we go. So we're greeted to this moment, and the queens start recording their lyrics. We have Tina, we have a little bit of Utica, we have Simone. And what happens when Simone is starting to record her lyric? You guessed it, Simone is traveling in time to tell us, not Simone, Rosé is traveling in time to tell us that Simone is not really doing that well. You know, it's kind of, it feels like they really sat there months later and said, listen, we need our storylines to be consistent. So we need to refilm some confessionals. You need to tell us things, you know, because they probably were in the confessional from this episode. They were probably all really nice to each other. They were like, oh, everybody is doing a great job. Everybody is doing their best. Some are better at singing, some are worse. And it was absolutely inconsistent with the storyline. So that's why we needed to have this series of allegedly refilmed confessional. Emphasis on allegedly. So by this point, we saw every queen rehearsing, every queen recording their lyrics, except for Gottmik, Denali, and Rosé. Where the hell are these three queens? Because if you're not showing them, it means that you're holding something back. What exactly are you holding back? And, if you finish the episode, you know that they were actually in the top 3. So you might be drawn to think, well, they didn't show them because they ended up being real good. So they kept the surprise effect. And I would say, yes, that is a reasonable thing to say. But that's not what exactly what happened. What happened is that they were secretly hitting on RuPaul's private stash. So, while everybody was recording the lyrics, you have got McDonald's and Rosé hidden somewhere in the studio, in a corner of the studio, horny as hell, and they are going down to business hard. They're going down hard. It's a passionate intricacy of bodily parts, all in the backstage. And you might think, why is that happening? Well, they're high. That's the whole point. They're high all of the time. But there is also a real reason behind it. And I can tell you more about that later on, because now it's time to rehearse the choreography with Jamal. And as it happened before, we see every queen, but this time we are missing Utica and Tina. Now, if you learned anything from Got McDonald's and Rosé, then you know what exactly was going on with Utica and Tina, because the episode before, we saw them clear all their differences. They are friends now, but they are more than friends. They might be lovers. So, Tina and Elliot are nowhere to be found. For some reason. I'm not implying anything. I'm just saying for some reason. And we are hit with 3 confessionals from Jamal. And not any confessionals, because in one, it's a positive one and she's praising Olivia. And then we have 2 more, and these are negative ones. And they are negative toward Candy and toward Simone. So by this point in the episode, we are like 20 minutes in, and I already know, okay, there is something going on with Candy and Simone. Either they are pushing the narrative that they are going to do bad, or they are trying to surprise us and they will end up on top. But immediately, I have my eye on both of them, just because of this. That's how transparent the edit was for this episode. Of course, we cannot end a section of this episode without Rosé traveling in time. This time, she's not only traveling in time, she's also coming for a mismatch confessionals to tell us that some of the queens do not really know how to dance. And if you watched Jamal's confessionals, then you know exactly which queens don't really know how to dance. Don't you love Drag Race? It's incredible. Oh my god. They're not, at this point, they're not really trying anymore. They're just going with the flow, So we're back in the workroom. Finally, we're back in the workroom, and we are greeted with 2 humanizing moments. One for Tina and one for Candy. So Candy had a little bit of a moment last episode with Elliot, if you remember. And this time she gets a chance to open up about her past relationship with the guy that I cannot remember the name. Oh, Graham Norton. And Candy gets to talk about the internet fame, the social media problems that she had, the memes, and so on and so forth. This is the second humanizing moment from Candy in the mirror. The second one. So by this point, a redemption arc is basically complete. Everything that went on and was exaggerated with Tamisha has finally gone full circle. Candy is a human, she has a vulnerable side, and she is completely redeemed. So at this point you might think maybe she will go home this episode. No. There is a little bit of a surprise for you. Of course, Candy took notes on Rosé, so we are greeted to a mismatched confessional from Candy. She managed to regrow her chest hair. Oh, sorry. She shaved her chest hair midway during a confessional. And you might notice that from this moment on, she is wearing green contact lenses. Do you remember where they come from? Do you remember the first fight with Tamisha? The three-way confessional in less than 15 seconds? She has green contacts in those. But surprise, surprise, that confessional doesn't count. It's none of these two. It's a new one. So we're going to find out in the future where it came from. So finally, let's have a little bit of a drink. Let's take a look in the chat. Let's not forget that we have a chat. Denali took more notice, says yes, work. Jules, talking about what happened to Candy's outfit. Yeah, I guess we finally found out who it was, wasn't it? So finally, we hit the main stage. And what goes on the main stage? Well, we didn't have a mini advertisement, so we need to have a little bit of product placement. And if you notice, it's not just the phones of the judges, which I might say, since, you know, it's show business and everyone needs to have that specific phone because it's a status thing, it's a status symbol. But we also have a very recognizable phone frame as the frame for the Maxi Challenge. And you cannot tell me that this happened by chance. You know, in this episode, I didn't get an episode with the... not title screens, how are they called? With the end screen? End screen? You know, when you get basically all the... oh my god, I'm stroking. You know, at the end of the episode, you get to see who was the producer, who was the story producer, talent handlers, and so on. In the episode that I got, I didn't get that. Otherwise, I would have checked if Apple actually paid for this advertisement. I mean, in a way, they must have paid, right? So... either they did it when everybody could see, or end credits. Lena Clark, thank God. The end credits, thank God. So I didn't get to see them, but if I find them, I will give you an update on that, because this cannot have happened by chance. It's simply impossible. It's too much. It's simply too much. Seneca, end credits, thank you. This is like the ice skates. That it, you know, take me like a moment to actually learn the word. Let's hope I will not forget. So after getting to the judges, finally, it's time for the RUSICAL, or as I like to call it, the sweatsicle. Why is it called the sweatsicle? Well, everybody was wet by the end of this performance. Everybody was sweating profusely from every orifice that they have in their body. And you might think, why did they turn off the air conditioning system? They are lip syncing. They're not even singing live. So who cares about the background noise of the air conditioning? And I may tell you, that has nothing to do with the air conditioning, because after Rosé, Denali, and Gottmik got back to the other queens, they shared the fact that they found RuPaul's secret stash. The problem is that RuPaul's secret stash turned out to actually be Viagra. So everybody is horny as hell. During the whole performance, you have tucks popping out, you have splits all over the place. You could taste the horniness in the air, and everyone was sweating so profusely. It was hard to watch, if you know what I mean. It was fucking hard to watch. So by the end of this, Olivia is basically ready to give a masterclass on perspiration. Candy, where is Candy? Here is Candy. Candy is basically getting a heat stroke. You know, when it's summertime and you hear on the television that 55 people died because of a heat stroke, yes, this is what's happening to Candy. She's completely out of it. Elliot is basically convulsing on stage. She is seeing dead people in this moment. She's struggling to stay awake. She's struggling not to fall on the ground. This is crazy. This is completely crazy. Then we have Denali. The stage was so completely covered in sweat. Then Denali almost broke her neck while trying to expose her private parts. Because let's not forget, they're whole high on Viagra right now on the stage. Simone almost refused to go down on stage a second time. When they did the second take, she didn't want to go down because of all that shit that was staying on the floor. And she was not the only one. At some point, Gottmik guitars disappeared. Where the fuck did Gottmik guitar end? What did he do with the guitar? And look at Jamal. Jamal is supposed to be bitch facing, but if you can read into his eyes, he is totally in for it. It's like, come on, girl, go for it. Show me everything. Give me everything. Yes, girl, give me everything. And Tina is completely out of her mind. Tina is not there anymore. We completely lost Tina. She is so wet that she lied on the floor in a desperate attempt to get off. And you have to understand, she doesn't give a fuck. Because after being with Graham Norton, she's basically ready for anything. It doesn't matter. At any moment, they're going to take off their drag, get naked, and go down to business. And this is your sweatsicle. An intricate movement of bodies and limbs, and everything is going into everything and out of everyone. This is the sweatsicle. And at some point I was expecting something like, have you seen the movie Perfume? The one based on the book. You have this end scene when basically you have a crowd of people in a city that are so enticed by what's going on in the hair that they basically get all naked and go down to business. This is what I was thinking while watching this performance. I have to blur it down. I have to blur the background, otherwise the video would get blocked. But this is basically what I was seeing while I was watching this episode. And RuPaul was living for all of it. I don't know what went on when the camera switched off, but you can imagine. If you have a little bit of imagination, you can imagine. The whole performance was a mess, and to be honest, I was living for all of it. This was one of the best episodes since the beginning of the season. It was so surreal. It was so over the top that it actually managed to be really good. TikTok Meltdown says, say 2 if you are okay. 3. 2.5 if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. Where is my energy drink? So tell me, while I have a little bit of a pause, drink my energy drink, vape a little bit because I don't smoke in the house. Tell me, who was your favorite queen in this performance and why? And by favorite, I don't mean who did the best for you. I mean the one who entertained you the most. Let me know in the chat. Oh, this drink is over. We need another one. Good God. This is getting surreal. This is not a reality TV anymore. This is becoming like PG-18, PG-21. Like you need to have a bachelor degree only to watch this. Okay, comments are coming in. Yes Work says, Tina, Sasha, Rose, Luisa, I was excited watching Rose. Gothboy, Utica, Gottmik and Denali. Blue Boy, Utica, OK, Olivia and Rose. Felicia says, Utica and Denali. Latif says, Utica, Leda Clark. I actually like Tina a lot. She had that vampy Broadway personality that her role required. Yes, actually she did really well. I thoroughly enjoyed. She was not my favorite, but I thoroughly enjoyed Tina. Joel says she had the hardest choreography. And lyrics as lady tweets. Absolutely agree with that. Giovanni says Utica, coffee, rosé. Zoe, I have to say it was Helliot. That's the first one. TikTok meltdown. Definitely Tina. Just seeing her without a red hair is one successful point. Yes, of course. For once, it was nice. Virginie, Santa Frida, Denali and Mick were really fun. Kevin R says Tina, Candy, Rosé. In all of this, nobody is actually saying Olivia. Dixie, Olivia, then we have one. Dixie said Olivia, we had one. So we had a good thing for everybody. Great. Do you want to know who my favorite one was in all of this? You're going to be shocked. It was Candy. I lived for everything that Candy was doing on that fucking stage. Basically, you have a 200-degree temperature on the fucking stage. Candy is completely out of it. She is stroking. She is not there. And you can see that she is really doing her best not to faint on that fucking stage. She was completely unbothered throughout the whole performance. She couldn't give a fuck about anything, about anyone, about the music, the choreography, Jamal, the people at home. She couldn't give a fuck. She was in survival mode. She was like, don't fall on the ground. This is all that matters. Don't fall on the fucking ground. And of course, she was probably hallucinating Joey J, because we all need to hang on to reality whenever we are starting to phase out and faint on stage. So it was so bad. She had all this hair stuck through her face because she was sweating so much that the hair just didn't want to go away. She was like desperately trying to get this fucking hair out of her face, but it kept glued on her face because of the sweat. It was majestic to watch. It was just majestic to watch. I cannot describe it in any other ways. I was thoroughly entertained throughout the whole performance. So, thank you, Candy. Thank you so much. Seneca, I knew you were going to say Candy. Guy Illustration says it's more than hard. It sure is. It sure is. I was getting the life out of it. She was like, she really didn't give a fuck, you know. Oh my god. Oh my god. So in all of this, during the whole performance, we are constantly hit by the judges' reactions. Now, what do I mean by judges' reactions? So basically, we are watching the queens performing, and then at random moments, we are hit with the judges either smiling, or we hear them laughing off camera, or we see them laughing on camera, or they are bitch-facing. So why do we have these cuts during the queen's performances? Well, because they are telling us in which way we should interpret what we are actually seeing. Because in reality, all of these queens were probably really good. They had 2 takes, they gave their best, they're auto-tuned, so you don't really know if somebody really fucked up the lyrics in a major way. They're all lip-syncing, they're all dancing. You know, based on the camera angles, you can have everyone look exactly the way you want them to look. The only difficult things is to actually make them look bad. Because all in all considered, basically all of them did a good job. Some did an excellent one and some did just a good job, but nobody really did a bad job. So you need a little bit of a push to think that somebody actually did a bad job. Except for Candy. She really didn't give a shit. So, of course, I created a chart, because this is a chart show. As you know from last episode, this has officially become a chart show. So I created this chart with all of the judges' reactions, who they gave them to, and I actually gave 1 point if a queen received a smile from the judges, 1.5 points if we heard the judges laughing off camera, 2 points if they are laughing on camera, and -1 point if the judges were bitch facing. Why did I use this system? Well, because it's simply a laugh on camera. It's much more convincing to the viewer than simply seeing a judge smiling, so it needs to be counted more. And as you see from the chart, we have basically our top 3 justified, because we have Denali and Gottmik with 13 points and Rosé with 11. The real surprise is Tina in the bottom, because she actually received seven positive points in this. She had a ton of positive reactions from the judges. So I was expecting, because while I was watching the episode, I was actually tracking down all of those things. So I was thinking, okay, the bottom is going to be Candy, Elliot, and Simone. But don't forget shock value. So instead of Elliot in the bottom 3, we have Tina for some reason. I don't get it. I don't get what they put. Well, yes, I get it why they put Tina there, because, you know, it's shock value. But once again, the chart shows that the edit is basically telling the viewers what they need to think. It's absolutely colluding with the storyline that are carried on by the judges when they deliver their cryptiques, how we like to call them, the cryptiques. They are not critiques, they are cryptiques. So what exactly were the judges' cryptiques? Well, let's go through them one by one. I know it's going to be painful, but, you know, we have to do it. So we are going to do it. My God. In a way, I'm always happy to come back to this series every week and get a good load of bullshit, because, as you know, I don't get enough in the outside world. So I needed to be in my entertainment. So we start off with Tina. Tina was complimented on the recording. And I'm thinking, wait a moment. The last season of the RUSICAL, nobody was complimented on the recording. You complimented them on the singing after it was autotuned. Gigi won the RUSICAL for some reason, but, you know, everything is the contrary of everything. So this time Tina is complimented on her voice recording. Fantastic. Perfect. What else do we have on Tina? There is absolutely no mention of the difficulty of her role. She was the narrator for the RUSICAL. She had a ton of lines. She had a ton of dancing. She was doing so much, but she was not recognized for it, because I guess she's not Olivia. What can I say? And the best, the cherry on top, is when Michelle comes forward and said, Tina, you stopped lip syncing when you were falling on the floor. And at that point I'm thinking, Michelle, which take are you talking about? Because they were all sweating so profusely that if you track the sweat, you can actually see that there were 2 takes to the RUSICAL. So I'm thinking, which take are you talking about, Michelle? Was it the first one or the second one where everybody was so tired? Because judging by the sweat on Tina, it was probably the second take. So I do understand while she might have gotten out of it a little bit. When you have such a long part and you need to do 2 takes, one after the other, well, probably by the end of it, you might forget a little bit of something. But, you know, she has to be on the bottom. So, of course, Michelle and Ross clock her on the fact that she stopped lip syncing for like 2 seconds. And was it even real? I think so. I don't think it was manipulated looking back, but I didn't spend more time to actually track down every lip movement, because I spent my time tracking somebody else's lip movement in this episode. So, Candy, yes, Candy. So, Tina is probably going to be on the bottom. Who is next? Simone. To Simone, they tell her that she has no sass, no attitude. And while I was looking the RUSICAL, I saw the usual Simone that you see all of the time. She was incredible on stage. She was the usual bombshell. And at some point, you can see that she is lying on the floor. She is shaking her ass, but the camera cut it out. You can see only part of the head shaking on the floor. The rest is cut out by the camera, because you guessed it, it's not consistent with the storyline. So she was not sassy enough. She was not sexy enough. She didn't sell it, whatever it means, because selling it on this show means whatever they want it to mean. It's just a generic thing that's put there. Then we get to Candy. Candy was praised for her makeup for some reason, because I thought her makeup looked much better the episode before and the episode before that, but you know, they probably had to say something nice about Candy. And they tell her that they couldn't see her face because of the hair. And at that moment I'm thinking, yes, it was glued to her face because she was sweating. Do you want to acknowledge that or not? Because of course at times you can see that the hair the hair actually gets to her face. But by the time the performance goes on and the takes go on, you can really realize that the hair is simply stuck to the face because it's hot. She is sweating. What are you doing? You are tearing her down because she is sweating? Is this what we are getting to? Whatever it is. So she has the hair in the face. And then they tell her, oh, you were constantly look on the floor. Oh, you didn't fall on the ground of time. And I'm fucking thinking, well, from the temperature that you had in that fucking studio, you are lucky she didn't faint and she didn't drag World of Wonder to court because of that. Because it's not normal to sweat that way. And for everybody thinking, well, she sweat that way because she's a big girl, which means that it's more difficult to regulate the temperature on your body, and that is sure true. That is surely true. But then why was Tina sweating so much? Why was Olivia sweating so much? You know, they're not big girls. Everybody was sweating like crazy, and they went to Candy and say, oh, you were looking too much on the floor. You didn't fall on the ground right. And I'm thinking, it's a miracle she's still on her feet. It's a miracle she's still on her feet. You know, I felt so bad for Candy this whole episode, you know. It was a shit show. Then we get to Simone. Simone was polished. Simone, yes. Then we get to Rosé. I need more energy drink. I'm starting to miss things already. I'm starting to fall asleep. Where are we? Rosé. So Rosé was polished. Rosé was great. Rosé was really wonderful. Rosé was in her element, doing what she was meant to do. And at this point I'm thinking, yes, I get that these are the cryptiques, but shouldn't they be like objective statements, like things that we can compare to the same queen in different performances, or to different queens in the same performances? So what's objective about great, really wonderful, in her element and doing what she's meant to do? So I get it that Rosé has to win this episode, but at least give her some kind of objective critique. Compliment her on her singing, for example. Because we know that that is a talent she has. Why wasn't she complimented on her singing? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. But don't think about it. Don't think about it. Listen to the shady noises. Follow the camera wherever it's going. Don't think about it. It doesn't matter. But she was clocked on the fact that her outfit was orange. And that is the only thing I agreed with. Because, girl, that outfit was orange. It was not yellow. I mean, it looked great, but it was not orange. Then we move on to Denali. Denali was funny. Denali was in character. She was complimented on that backflip that we actually got to see for like half a second and from really far away. Because Denali shouldn't have won this episode. So everything she did good or too good had to be, you know, tuned down a little bit. Otherwise people will start saying, well, Denali should have won. Denali should have won. So she's basically complimented. It's good. It's better than being safe as usual. But by this point I'm thinking Denali was acting with Gottmik. So probably she received all of these praise because she was kind of entangled with Gottmik, and Gottmik received a ton of praise. At some point they interrupted critiques of other queens to reference how Gottmik was good, how good Gottmik was. That was completely, but of course she's our young and talented, so we know that this is the kind of edit that she was going to receive. So she was told that her outfit was edgy, she was sexy, she was fashion, she was really good, she sold it, whatever it means, she stole the show, and she was confident. Wow, that's a mouthful, isn't it? It always amazes me how much they are unable to actually give good quality critiques, because I'm not against the fact that you're praising Gottmik. I thought she was good as well. I agree 100% of that. But this is the kind of critiques that me with my broken English would give to someone. You are a native speaker. You can be better than that. You can give some objective things that will actually reflect the performance. You don't have to go with bullshit like, yes, it was really good, you sold it, you stole the show. What does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. TikTok Meltdown says, Rosé's outfit traumatized me because when I was younger, my aunt changed all my TV to the mask. Oh. I thought the makeup was good. I like the makeup on Rosé. Unfortunately, on the main stage, for some reason, we didn't get to see how good the makeup actually was. So I suggest you make a comparison from the main stage and Untucked, because it could be that the illumination was different on the main stage, but it was also probably really heavy filtered, because there's a RuPaul in there who is 60 years old and wants to look like she's 30. So it's a ton of filtering. It's like basically Vaseline on the camera on the main stage. So I suggest you check out Rosé's makeup during Untucked. That is so much better. Who else do we have? That's basically it. That's basically it. By the end of the cryptiques, Rosé is the winner. She finally gets her first win. Did she deserve it? Well, in a way, yes and no. So I will tell you why I think yes and why I think no. Yes, because this is a singing challenge. Of course, there is also dancing. Of course, there is also acting. But it's basically, at its core, it's a singing challenge. And to me, she is the best singer of the group. Next to Tina, probably, but even better than Tina. So, of course, she deserved the win. But if we judge them from an all-round perspective and take the outfit into account, then I think that it's without a doubt that Denali did such a much better job. And this is another pass on Denali. This has been the theme throughout the whole season. Let's take a dump on Denali all of the time. But at least this time she was high. So I don't know what's going to happen next episode because of this. Because on RuPaul's Drag Race, you don't get anything. You don't get anything in exchange for something else. So we're going to see about that. Blazing Bars says, are we going to talk about the looks a bit? Not really, because I didn't have time to go through the looks because I had this laptop accident in the afternoon, so I didn't have time to go through the looks. I'm just going to say I basically like them all. What I didn't like was the fact that, as usual, Simone was not clocked on the fact that she brought the same figure once again. Again, she is stunning, she is beautiful, she has $1 million walks, but versatility. Show me a little bit of padding once in a while. You are still a drag queen. Show me a little bit of cinching, I want to see that hourglass figure, not every time, but at least once. Show me it once. And there was nothing with Simone. So no, I'm sorry, I didn't prepare the outfits. I'm professional. By this time you should know that. And of course, Rosé wins, and she celebrates by coming and teleporting in time for a mismatched confessional. So she's actually saying, this is really a big deal to me, and I am fucking thrilled. And they had to mismatch that. Can you imagine how tired do you have to be to even mismatch something to say that they are excited? This is crazy. This is completely crazy. I don't know what the hell happened this season, but some people need to get fired. Okay, move on to the bottom three. We have Tina, for some reason. In all of the people that you could have actually brought to the bottom, like Elliot, for example, or even Utica, because even though everybody did a great job, at this point you go to find who didn't shine the most, basically. But I think Tina did a fantastic job. I don't give a shit that she lost 2 minutes of a lip sync. They could have simply cut it out from the camera or used the first take, for example. But, shock value. So Tina is in the bottom. Of course, she doesn't have to lip sync. The lip sync is between Simone and Candy. And by this point, I am thinking two things. Either Candy is going home, or they're going to keep both of them in the competition, because Simone is the hero of the season. There is no chance she is going home. And Candy has had this huge villain and redemption arc. Of course, by the end of the episode, the redemption arc of Candy was closed. So I could actually see Candy going home, but she doesn't. By the end of this, she becomes the first queen to come back to the competition like 5 seconds after getting eliminated. We used to have queens coming back like 3 episodes later, 5 episodes later. Candy comes back like 5 seconds after being eliminated. That's how surprising this was. I didn't agree with it. I absolutely didn't agree with it, because there also was this moment in which you can really see that the editors are fishing out for every possible emotional moment that they could get. So who gives a shit about Candy? Who gives a shit if she's getting traumatized? Who gives a shit if she's getting triggered while being on the show? Who gives a shit about anything? All of these people, they are expendable. So who gives a shit about you? We need to make a nice show, and that is all that matters. So by the end of this episode, I can tell you, I'm left with nothing but empathy for Candy. She might be the way she is. She is portrayed on the show the way she is portrayed. But after buying so much into her narrative, because you can see she's really crying. You have tears falling off like through her chest. That's how destroyed she is. So I feel really bad, because she's moved along like a puppet and she's completely buying all of it. And the moment she will leave the race, she's going to be in for a surprise, because the reality is that the public out there, they are only sensitive to the first impression. And the first impression is that she's an angry, aggressive queen with very little talent. That is the first impression that the show worked so hard to bring to your face. So I'm wishing the best of luck to her, and she needs all of this. The only thing that I can say about Candy is that for me, she wasn't absolutely ready for coming on Drag Race. She should have waited like a couple more seasons, perfect your makeup skills, learn a little bit of dancing, learn to improve the acting, which is not bad, but it could be much better, get some more money to get some actually good dresses to bring on the show. To me, she was basically unprepared. But of course, the casting producers didn't give a shit, because as we know, they statistically seem to love to have villains of color. So it doesn't matter if Candy looked like she wasn't prepared for the race. That was not the requirement. The requirement was be hangry, allegedly. Be hangry, because we need a villain. Possibly a villain of color. I didn't say anything. Jules, they played with Tina and Candy's emotions and shot all over the alley. Yes, this season is the disrespect is palpable this season. It was so much. Beverly Steer says, I'm kind of over this season. Well, in a way, me too, but as you can see, I'm finding alternative ways to get entertained by this show. Fantasia, that was complete honesty, but damn, you read Candy. Yes, sometimes I'm brutally honest, but I have nothing against Candy. I'm just trying to be as objective as I possibly can, and this is what I think about it. She could have probably had a great chance to shine in a couple more seasons. This is what I think, because you get one shot at this, one shot of getting on Drag Race. And then maybe if you're lucky, you will come back years after years for All Stars. But, you know, the first impression is the one that really counts. So you better use your shot when you are absolutely ready for it. Now, there is one thing that I want to talk about before we get to the speculations. So let's talk about this, and then we will take a cigarette pause because it's been 1 hour already. I don't know why this show are dragging on so much. It usually used to take just 1 hour. There is one thing that I want to go through. TikTok Meltdown says the reason why they didn't sashay away is called RuPaul wants Joey. I can tell you one thing. RuPaul wants money, allegedly. So I want to talk to you about the lip sync for a moment, because something happened during this lip sync, and I hope some of you noticed. Oh, let's ask to the chat. What went wrong during this lip sync? Because I want to see how many of you saw the same thing that I saw, because they did their best to hide it. But there was something wrong with this lip sync. So tell me what you think about it. Tell me if you noticed. Let's see. Jellicoe, bingo. The first 5 seconds, Jellicoe, bingo. Candy didn't know the words. Luis Felipe, Candy didn't know the words. Yes, work. Simone was on Valium. You know, while everybody was hitting RuPaul's stash, she hit Raven's stash. Mallory Murphy. How sweaty Candy was? Yeah, she was really sweaty. Antonina, it was kind of short for me to be honest. Yes, it was short. Sylvia, Elliot screaming with closed mouth. I didn't notice that. That's incredible. Lena, Candy's outfit was falling apart. Yes. Law for AHYC. Simone didn't move or dance or have any sass like usual. She just did the same move. Well, you know, according to the other comments, she was on Valium. She hit the wrong stash this episode. So, you know, she was a little bit slower than usual. Shima Kaido said they stopped lip syncing? No, not exactly. Giovanni, I didn't saw it and you know it. Yes, I knew it. We had a talk on Discord, actually. Chunky Matos, Candy didn't know the words. Yes, bingo. Lady Baconator, it didn't look like Candy knew the words. Yes, and yes to all of you. Great eye. Candy didn't know the words. So as you know, I cannot show you the lip sync because we would get, you guess it, an automatic copyright claim. What I want you to do is to listen to what I'm telling you. Mark this moment on the live stream. It will probably be on the episode as well. And then go check out the lip sync because it was amazing the amount of effort that the editor put in this episode to try to distract us from the fact that Candy didn't know the words, like at all. That it was so sophisticated that I was almost disgusted by the end of it. So let's begin with the description of this, and I really strongly suggest that while we take a pause, you go on YouTube and check this lip sync. We're going to take a 5 minutes pause, mute the stream, go on YouTube, check the lip sync, and you will see it with your own eyes. So the song begins, and we see Candy she is lip syncing the first lines. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to keep my eyes on her mouth and do the best to track her mouth movements. So we know that she knows the very first lines of the song. The problem is that immediately the camera pans out and we can barely see Candy going through the second sentence of the song. In the next shot, Candy is already walking to the back of the stage, so we don't get to see her lips. We only cut to the judge's reaction and then Simone. Now, Simone is far away, Candy is far away, and she turns. The problem is that the camera this time is panning out. It's zooming out again, so we don't really get to see her lips. Instead, we see a finally clip of Candy's lips, a zoom on Candy's lips, but unfortunately it's a part of the song where there are no lyrics. It's only instrumental. Now the lyrics come back again, but the camera cuts to Simone mouthing every word. After that, the camera pans out again. We see both queens, but of course it's difficult to actually see Candy's lips. At this point, Candy does a high kick, and we get to finally have a shot where we see her lips. And it looks like this is the only moment in which you can actually realize that she is shalabalaba tuning. But of course, it's not even 2 seconds in, and we are hit by a confessional from Tina. Because you start hearing Tina's voice from the confessional and you get distracted from the song. But if you rewatch the lip sync and try desperately to ignore Tina's voice and listen to the song and looking at Candy's lips, you can see that she doesn't know the word. She is shalabalaba tuning. By this point, the camera is still closing up on Candy for just a fraction of a second, and after that we finally cut to the confessional where we actually get to see Tina and not just only hear the words. After that, we briefly see Candy's mouthing the lines of the chorus, that Michelle Obama something, because that she knew. But immediately after that, it cuts to the judges smiling. After that, and realizing that Candy actually knew these 2 lines of chorus, the camera goes back again while she is laying on the floor. The chorus is over and the song continues, but Candy is turning away from the camera and we get to only see Simone. At this point, the camera goes to Candy, but she's not even moving her lips. And then it cuts to a smile from Jamal. The song continues, but the camera zooms out. For a moment, just a brief moment, it zooms in to Candy, but Candy is turning away from the camera and has her hair on her face, so we don't get to see her lips. And then we cut out to Simone again. Then we see Candy lip syncing to the lyrics "Yeah, yeah, yeah," and then we have a cut to the judges' reaction, and they are actually smiling to that. Then we get a close-up of Candy dancing while there are no lyrics to lip sync to. After that, the lyrics come back on, the camera zooms out and then moves to the judges smiling. We have a tiny close-up of Candy for literally half a second, and then it moves immediately to Simone's lips. After that, it goes only back to Candy the moment the song starts to harmonizing around the word no. And then it's back to Ru smiling and Simone mouthing every word. After that, we cut to the judges. We have Jamal saying, "Let's go," and he is not wrong. The camera zooms out. It's time again for the Michelle Obama chorus. We see Simone mouthing every word. We see Candy mouthing the words of the chorus, because by this point, we know that she knows at least the chorus. And then it's time to cut again to a shot of Ross smiling. We get half a second of both the queens, and then the song is over. Now, it's heartbreaking, the fact that lip syncs don't even count anymore. As you know, I have nothing against Candy. This is an objective thing. She didn't know the words. She should have gone home. What is left of a competition where the camera is trying to do its best to convince me of something that's not really happening? It's really beyond me. It's really beyond me. So my suggestion is that we'll take a little bit of a pause. I'll put on actually a track of music, but I will silence it. Go on YouTube and go check out the lip sync, because you will see all of these things. Do your best to keep your eyes on Candy's mouth. The camera will make it really difficult for you to follow, but if that's your mission, you will actually see that she didn't know the words. So oh shit, the song started before I was even ready for it. Okay, So let's take a little bit of a pause, go check out the lip sync, go to the bathroom, go smoke a cigarette. I'll go smoke a cigarette, and I will see you back in 3 or 4 minutes. And we're back. Did you watch the lip sync? Did you see? It was so bad. It was so bad. Whatever. Let's move on to the confessional chart and the speculations for this episode. As you can see, the only person with negative confessionals is Denali. This is the very beginning on the episode when she's talking about being pissed because she was just saved the last episode. And of course, it was framed negatively. We had a ton of shady noise, we had the eerie music on the background, she was kind of pissed, but you know how it's going on with Denali. You know what's going on with Denali since the very beginning of the season. They're basically pissing all over her head. We'll get to Denali in the moment. We also find out that the episode was basically narrated by Tina and Simone. For some reason, I can understand Simone because she is the hero. She has to be in your face. Tina a little bit less, but you know. By this point, Tina's head is also compromised as well. Also, Elliot completely disappeared from this episode. Not only in the main episode, but also in the confessionals. She only had 2 narrating confessionals. One was during the episode, and one was on the main stage when she was describing her outfit. This is all we saw of Elliot. Fantasia says, your fans are asking for talk time on the Discord. What do you mean by talk time? What do you mean by talk time? Illustration, just rewatched the lip sync and Denali in the back is lip syncing more than Candy. Dixie, I'm ashamed of myself. You've taught us better than that. You should have told me to sashay away. Kevin Hoffman, top 5. Yes, we have a top 5 by the end of this speculation. Don't worry. Jules, I think we'll get another Denali lip sync soon. Well, at this point, I hope so. Poor Denali has gone through so much. It's been enough. It's time for her to relax, go home. She did her impression. Well, I guess the comment will come in. Let's move on with the speculation. Okay, let's start from the left to the right as usual. Now, Candy Muse. Candy had the most confessional out of everyone, and she just didn't have the most confessionals, she also had the longest one, because if you compare it to Tina, she had more confessional time, but she only had 7 confessionals, while Tina had 11. That didn't happen by chance. They actually wanted us to pay attention while she was having her humanizing moment in front of the mirror. All in all, it was a great episode for Candy. A redemption arc from the Tamisha's fight was completed this episode. She could have been sent home, but she stayed. And probably a new redemption arc is going to start for Candy. Probably it's going to be a kind of performance, a redemption arc. So I'm expecting by this point, since she was saved, I'm expecting Candy to win a challenge next episode or maybe even the episode before, but it has to happen really soon because they kept her in the competition, which must mean that a new redemption arc for her is starting. She has to have a storyline. So will she fight again with someone? I don't know. By this point, I don't think so. It's going on full performance redemption. So we are going to see. The only thing that I can tell you is that the producers and the editors worked extra hard on Candy's edit and storyline since the beginning of the season. So by this point, I can confidently say that she must be on the top 4 as a redempted villain. There has been too much going on with her edit for her to stop like in 6th or 7th place. It's absolutely out of the question. When they work so much on a contestant, they do it for a reason. So by this point, she officially becomes my 3rd prediction for the top 4. Along with Simone and along with Gottmik. We're going to see who the 4th is going to be. Moving on to Tina. Her edit is been shat on all over since the beginning of the episode. She had a ton of negative confessionals. She was never rewarded every time she was doing good in a challenge. Every chance they had to actually make her shine was constantly passed on. So what's going on with Tina? What is the meaning of the negative confessionals? Will she have a fight, or is this just a way to tune down her edit, make her look worse than she actually is. It could be either way. I think at some point she's going to have a little bit of a fight with someone. I have no idea who, as I told you already in the speculation for the previous episode. Rosé. Rosé is finally rising. In the speculations that we did in episode, what was it, 7? In the last episode, yes, it was episode 7. We said that if Rosé has any chance to ever go into the top 4, she needs to start winning something. Because she has been doing good, she never won anything, but she was constantly on the top. And you know that they poked her and poked her and poked her, and she was never triggered. So by this point, a lot of you might say, well, she won because Jen lost last season. So since they both are in a band, at some point you have to get the viewer some kind of redemptions from last RuSical. That could be. Or it could also be that Rosé's edit is finally rising. Now, does this mean that she will be on the top 4? I'm not sure about her as much as I am with Gottmik, Simone and Candy. But to me, she is a possible candidate. I have 2 possible candidates for the last spot on the top 4, and Rosé is one of them. Moving on to Utica. Now, Utica had to rise as well like Rosé, but didn't. If anything, she completely fell on the background during this episode. She had a little bit of frozen drama with Olivia that didn't go anywhere, but she's been pushed down. Even though she is the most unique queen, even though she was right out of the bat, she was one of my candidates for the top 4. By this point, I don't think she has much of a chance to actually get to the top 4. As it happened with Tina, they passed on every single opportunity to actually recognize their talent, especially as a seamstress, because Utica is not doing that bad, but they're passing on her every single time. So for me, Utica doesn't have a shot to the top 4 anymore. Maybe she will end up in 5th, 6th place, because she still is the most unique queen, at least from my point of view. But by this point, I basically gave up on Utica. They are doing nothing with her at all. Now, Gottmik is our young and talented. She is the fashion forward. We saw this in this episode as well. She was on the top. She is on a roll. And she is the infinite source of woke points for World of Wonder and VH1. And you know, right out of the bat, she was our favorite choice for the top 2. Next to Simone. Simone is the hero of the season. We have seen a ton of things for Simone. She had lots of time in the confessionals. She had all this episode was about her vulnerability. So it looks like the producers learned from Gigi Good last season, and they decided that the heroes must also be human. So we had this huge episode that is centered about Simone's vulnerability. She actually lands on the bottom. And even though everyone knows that she was not going to go home, it certainly gave a more human perspective on Simone. Now, on top of that, she had this allegedly refilmed confessionals. She had them in this episode as well. She had sometimes questionable critiques, or maybe questionable cryptiques, but she had a ton of wins. Nobody ever clocked her on the runway, and she is definitely in the top 2. There is no question about that by this point. There has been so much going on with Simone. Now, a note on Rosé. Rosé is also a candidate for the top 4 because she has this allegedly refilmed confessionals. And I don't know if you saw the preview for next episode, but that confessional pops up again. So in my opinion, it was a refilmed confessional, and it had to be refilmed for a reason. Does it mean that she will be in the top 4? I don't know, because by this point, my second candidate for the top 4, it's actually Olivia. There has been so much going on with Olivia. Finally, the editors are showing some personality. this is not on Olivia, this is on the editors. You know, we have this kind of shady side from Olivia that you might say, well, but it's shady, and I might say, yes, that is character development. You know, you can be sweet and you can also be shady. So it's nice to finally see a little bit of personality, because they sold Olivia as this smiling robot on the show. And to me, after 2 consecutive wins, she absolutely has a right to be a contender for the top 4, next to Rosé for the last spot. So we are going to see in the next episode what happens between the two of them. One thing is for sure, Denali has absolutely no chance to go to the top 4. As you know, Denali for me is basically the best contestant in this season. She has incredible outfits. She is consistently delivering in every challenge. Is it a dancing challenge, an acting challenge, a singing challenge? She is delivering all of the time, and she's constantly pushed on the back, which means she will never get to the top 4, which means they tried to trigger her since the very beginning of the season. Did it work? I don't think so at all, like with Rosé. But she has absolutely no chance to get to the top 4 by this point. But let's be honest, Denali, from my point of view, she already won the game of Drag Race, because she has been constantly in our face. We saw her doing great during the competition, so it doesn't matter if she will ever get to the top 4. It doesn't matter at all if she doesn't win. The important thing is that she won our hearts, and that is what is going to give her a platform and a good viable career after doing this. So she might have lost the race, but she won the game. And lastly, we have Elliot. Elliot absolutely disappeared this episode. She disappeared in the confessionals. She disappeared during the episode. Her storyline was actually concluded the episode before. She was our best candidate to go home this episode. But as you know, this season is all about shock value, and maybe they wanted to drag it on a little bit, you know, get a little bit more money. So they thought, you know what? We could get 2 birds with 1 stone. Let's not send Elliot home, and let's take an episode to actually humanize Simone and Candy. And Elliot can go home another episode. So, who is going to go home? Yes, guys, I'm going to the comment in a moment. Let me finish the speculations, then we will go to the comments, the questions, and everything. As usual, we will take our time, don't worry. Now, top 4. Simone, Gottmik, and Candy. Last spot on the top 4, either Olivia or Rosé. We need to see a little bit more to actually track down which one of the 2 it's going to be. Olivia won 2 challenges, Rosé won just 1, but Rosé was teleporting throughout the whole season. So it's neck and neck. We're going to see about that. Who is going home? My wish is that Denali is going home, because she did incredible in the race. She's doing incredible outside of the race. She has her YouTube channel. She has her boy YouTube channel. She's gaining a ton of followers. By this point, if she goes home, just take her out of her misery. Send her home. Is it going to happen? I don't think so. Last speculation, we said it was going to be either Elliot or Tina, with Elliot a little bit more of a probability, just because Tina can stir the pot a little bit better than Elliot could by this point. And the most important thing is that they both had humanizing moments already. So we know they're basically ready to go home. The storyline is basically concluded from both of them. I still suspect we're going to see a little bit more from Tina, but there is absolutely no doubt with Elliot. So my speculation for next episode is going to be the same as last episode, either Elliot or Tina. Or if they go with shock value, then it's either going to be Utica or Denali. But I don't think so, because by this point they are spending all their shock values in other ways. Not by sending home contestants that could possibly bring more views to the show. So by this point, I really think it's either going to be Elliot or Tina. If Tina goes off on someone next episode, then it's going to be her. If she doesn't, then it has to be Elliot. By this point, the editing for the episode, it's been really clear. The confessional chart has been really clear. Elliot is ready to go home. There is very little doubt about that. Now, can you imagine if they sent Candy home next episode? Well, you know how this season is. So, at least we're having fun speculating. Now, this was all for the speculation for this episode. Let's move on to the comments. Finally, I saw 2 tags. Wait a moment, I'm going to find them. Jules says, do you think Gottmik deserves to win the entire season? I don't think so, but I could see them crown Gottmik. I've been saying this through the speculation throughout the whole season. Gottmik is the winner. I don't see them, I really don't see them backing down from this. I think this is something that could be coming directly from VH1, and as they know, they are the one footing the bill. And after the catastrophe that we had with Gigi, we absolutely need somebody that will raise the brand. We need a little bit more of woke points, and Gottmik, it's absolutely perfect. So yes, not only she is the top 4, but since the very beginning I say she has to be the winner. She has to be the winner. I don't see them possibly crowning anybody else. By this point, the only other possible contestant is Simone. But as you can see, Simone was shot all over the place this episode. And the worst that happens with Gottmik is that she just disappeared during an episode. So she already has a much better head than Simone. To me, she is the winner. Mark my words on that. Next up, we have Sasha. At least one queen from the B squad needs to be in top 4. So I believe Rosé is there instead of Olivia. We'll see about that. We'll see about that. They pushed this theme of the winning queens versus the losing queen throughout the whole season. It was so transparent. I don't know why I didn't even notice that, because they always do this kind of shit in the beginning of each season. If you remember the last season, we had Jada, Redacted, and Gigi as the winner of the very first episode. They had 2 premieres, if you remember. And they were the winners. And they ended up being in the top 4, all 3 of them. Except for the one who was disqualified, But they pull this every single time. Because what? Because first impression is the one that matters. Always, always. A ton of people are watching the premiere, but from that moment on, it all goes downhill. So you want them to give your message as soon as possible. Next comment, Jules. They need a pork chop queen in the top 4 to make it fair. I don't know about that. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they go on with Olivia. I wouldn't be surprised one bit. TikTok Meltdown says, how are you going to feel if Tina wears a red hair to the finale? If she gets there, well, that's her brand. I'm not so upset about the fact that the queen is pushing her brand. What I am more upset is the way you implement it in a creative way. So I'm not really upset about seeing yellow and red from Tina. I am more upset in the way it's implemented in her appearance all of the time, because it could be better. But let's be honest, maybe she didn't have enough money to, come out with all the outfits and wigs and everything that it's needed from the competition. To me, it doesn't really matter. It's her brand. It's like Simone. She is never padding. She is never cinched, but it's her brand. She has $1 million walk and she is living the shit out of it. So I'm not really mad about that. What I'm mad about is that this is supposed to resemble a little bit of a competition, and they are never, ever clocked on this. And, it wouldn't change one bit if for once they say things like, Tina, can I see not red hair? Which I think they said, actually. Or Simone, can you pad for once? It doesn't take anything out of the edit, but at least it keeps me more invested in the show, because it enhances my ability to actually suspend my disbelief and actually get enticed in the storylines for the show. You know, I am better entertained if I believe that everything is real, at least for that 1 hour. After that, you know, you go back to the real world and realize, yes, it's just a show, it's manipulated, there is editing, and so on. So you actually have to get a real impression in the outside world of who these queens actually are. But for that 1 hour, I want to believe, because that's the meaning of entertainment. It's like when you watch a movie. Imagine watching a science fiction movie. Of course, it's not real, but for that little amount of time, you want to believe that it is, because that is entertainment. Illustration says, do you think it's possible that they show a more complicated choreo in the rehearsal? Because sometimes I feel like the choreo in the actual challenge is more simple, but maybe it's just me. No, I think it's absolutely, what you're saying, it's absolutely true, because I noticed it as well. During the rehearsal, they always show, like it happened with Denali, they show a lot more of the complicated moves, but either the queens don't have enough time to rehearse, so they end up on the main stage actually not doing a ton of things that they were supposed to be doing, and they have to cut around it. But for consistency, they should do a better job in cutting the rehearsal, because people are starting to notice that there is something wrong. Now, understand me, they call it drag race, but it's really a race. Like, everything that we've seen so far was probably filmed in less than 2 weeks. So when you have to learn, by this point we have had 2 choreos already, and imagine that you only have 1 afternoon to learn it. Then you go back to your room, sit there, and probably rehearse by yourself in the little time that you have, and the day after is probably filming already. You know, they might have some laws in place that forbid these people from working 7 days a week, so they probably work only 5 days. I don't think they even do 6 days. It wouldn't be it would be too much work, especially when you are on set for 10, 12, 15 hours. So you see, I can accept the fact that on the main challenge we see less than what is actually shown in rehearsal. I can completely understand it. But then as a producer and an editor, you need to cut those out, because the name of the game is also consistency. But, you know, for this season, the name of the game is shock value. It's not consistency. So I'm not surprised by that. But good eye. Good eye. I am always so happy when you guys start seeing things. That's good. Moving on. What do we have? Lady Baconator, do you think that VH1 has more ends on this season after what happened with last season? Absolutely yes. When you are footing the bill, you have a lot of say in whatever is going on behind the cameras. So yes, of course. As you know, whenever World of Wonder produces something and they sell it to somebody else, what is probably going on is there is a continuous back and forth between the producing company, that is World of Wonder, and the television company, which is VH1. It's back and forth. To which degree, we don't know, because the contract between the 2 companies, it's not actually out there. So what I can tell you is what usually happens. And what usually happens is that the company that's actually footing the bill is the one who will get a little bit more saying, a little bit more power. Because after all, by the end of the season, if the contract expires, VH1 could still say, you know what, I'm not buying the next season. I'm not happy with what you're doing. And also, this airs on our television channel, which means if you fuck it up, you ruin our image. So you can imagine a lot of crosstalk between the high-ups at VH1 and the high-ups at World of Wonder. So yes, absolutely, they have a saying in the top 4. If you watch the chop since the beginning of the season, in the very pre-show that we did before episode 1 even aired, I told you about the marketing research that there is behind RuPaul's Drag Race. Because you have a market, you want to appeal to that market, because if you appeal to that market, they are more likely to tune in, get exposed to the advertisement, and advertisement, it's what's footing the bill at the end of the game. So you want to appeal to them. And as we noticed during the season, since the move of VH1, there is always a young and talented queen between the age of 21 and 24, which for this season is Gottmik, because you have to appeal to the younger demographic, so they need to see themselves reflected in a queen. And there is always a queen of color, usually an African American queen, that is pushed to the top or cast to have actually the ability to reach the top, like in the case of Simone, for being a representative of the minority of people of color, because they are also part of the audience, so they too need to feel represented. And if you go back in the season since the move to VH1, except from season 9 when we didn't have a young and talented for some reason, you can think of what was the reason by yourself, but these two queens have always gone to the top, and this is simple marketing. It has nothing to do with racial issues, it has nothing to do with talent, it has everything to do with the audience and appealing to the audience. So, you know, I hope this answered the question. It was a long answer, so I'm sorry if I cannot be really synthetic. Shima Kaido said, those who are curious about the catastrophe related to Gigi, watch the live stream for the first episode of All Stars 5, if I remember correctly. After the confessional chart, he explained, yes. We couldn't do an episode of that because everything was too... there was too much going on, so I didn't feel like doing an episode. I actually wanted to do... how is it called? 1 second, it's getting to that time of the night. Do I have? Yes, I have some more. I actually, we were actually working on a mini documentary based on Gigi's edit. So yes, if you watch the past live stream, you will find it. It was, I think, yes, it was the Triple Threat live stream, where we did the finale of season 12. And I think the first episode of All Stars 1. But yes, it's there. Moving on to the chat. Let me see. What would you do if you judged the queens? Well, it would be difficult because you have to understand that you have some things that comes from the high-ups. Like, we need to have this queen on the top. We need to have this queen on... we need to have screen time with this specific queen. This happens even during casting, you know. We are talking about all of these things, and we usually forget the fact that when they do casting, they already have some types of queens in mind that they want to have. So they are typecast. But I would try to be as objective as I possibly can, especially if what I'm saying is coming out as a feedback. So if these queens are going to rely on what I'm saying, I want to be sure that I give them something that it's actually useful, not something that it's said just because I need to carry on a narrative. Because some of these queens will actually believe the judges' critiques and modify her drag and style based on these critiques that were no feedback at all. They were just there to push a narrative. So their drawback, at least I would try to be as honest as I can, because you can still push narratives, but if you are smart enough, you can also give proper feedback while you're pushing your narratives. And if you get paid the kind of money that the guest judges are getting paid, and the judges are getting paid, well, you should have at least have the ability to come out with this kind of critique. This is what I am expecting, because you're getting in one episode much more than anybody is going to earn in 3-4 months. So, you know. Let's see the question. Ladybug Gamer. Oh no, this I just read. Let's scroll. Mallory Murphy. Wait, Gigi got cancelled? Why? I have no idea. I have no idea. This cancel culture is getting crazy. Oh, the chat skipped. Sorry. Uhuri, wasn't Valentina the young and talented on season 9? Almost. Almost, yes. Yes, she didn't actually get in the demographic because she was not between, I think she was 25 at the time. So she was not really 21 to 24, but she looked much younger. So yes, she was the young and talented for me. Comments. Oh, there we go. TikTok Meltdown says, how many energy drink have you had today? That's a good question. I have 4 on my desk, and I think I had a 5th after dinner. So, too much. A little bit too much. Registered Human 2002 said, do you think Tina's edit... Where do you think Tina's edit is going? And how soon do you think she will be eliminated? When she will be eliminated, it's difficult to say, as much as it's difficult to say where the edit is going. One thing is for sure, the edit is going down. The thing that is not for sure is which way is going down. Is it going down because she will receive a villainous episode, or is it going down just because she was too good of a competitor and they need to push her down? Because, you know, the motto of this show is you don't get people to shine really on their own merits. You get them to shine by elevating them at the expense of others. So Tina and Denali and Utica are one of these examples of queens that are pushed down so that the other can look better by comparison. And if you think who the other are, they don't really need this kind of a push, but this is the way, you know, this is the way they do the show. Emily Hall says, do you feel like they are setting up Denali's lip sync or maybe even a fight with her and Tina? That is my best guess. That is my best guess, because I believe that they've done so much with Tina to portray her in a kind of shady way. You remember the first episode when she said, oh, Rosé is here, Rosé lost the lip sync, and then all that thing that went on with Elliot, who had its mini redemption arc in there as well. There's been so much going on with Tina. I expect something to happen. That is my best guess. Moving on. Blazing Bard, the thing is, who could be good enough to actually send Denali's home? Well, we've seen what they are doing with the editing for the lip syncs. By this point, it doesn't really matter. If they want her to look bad, they will make her look bad, no matter what. Where am I? Sorry, I lost the chat a little bit. Blazing Bard says, do you remember the moment when the illusion of the show broke for you? For me, it was Vanjie being safe in the farm runway. For me, it started, it didn't happen like from a moment to another. It happened gradually. So when I saw Trixie's storyline in season 7, then I realized something was not really right with the show, because in that season I realized 2 things. Number 1, Pearl lost that lip sync, but she was asked to stay, and then we had this whole internet movement that started by chance, which was, you know, the Bring Trixie Back movement. And then Trixie just magically happened to come back for the competition. In the same season, this was the first one where the queen had to receive a list of the outfits to prepare. So I smelled something there as well. But I didn't actually clock down all of these things until season 8 actually came back, and we had the hero edit with Bob the Drag Queen, which was so heavy-handed that my first impression of Bob during the season is that I didn't like him, because all that I was seeing was Bob's edit. And then in time, by you know, following the queens outside of Drag Race, see the way they actually are when they are in control of the way they talk, of the things that they say, then I started warming up to Bob, actually. It took a little while, but I did a 180. But I got completely, I clocked completely all the editing bullshit that goes on the show by the time season 8 was finished. Bob's hero edit was really, really heavy-handed in season 8. Wait a moment, chat is skipping. Where are we? Kevin Hoffman, Candy in the top 4 doesn't make sense with my fantasy. You mean your fantasy? And also why? I don't know why, but they love a villain to the top. It keeps the show interesting. The problem is that a redemption villain edit, it's basically, in my opinion, the most difficult kind of edit to actually pull off in reality television, because you cannot simply decide to give it to someone. Something has to happen in the real life where you can actually work on to create a perfectly storyline that starts at one point and goes on full circle by the end of the season. The best redempted villain, and it will always be the best, I think, in every possible reality television show, was Bianca Del Rio in season 6. It was the best redemption villain edit that the show ever managed to pull off, and they are so difficult to pull off. It's not working at all with Candy. Not only you need to have a lot of talent in the editing room to pull that off, but you also need real things happening in the show. And what we got to see of Candy in this Untucked, for example, was Candy getting angry at her critiques. And, you know, that doesn't really work. Like Violet, redempted villain edit in season 7, it didn't work. They tried their best to push it. They tried their best to say, oh, Violet is changing, Violet is learning. But that is something that we actually only heard in the confessionals. We never actually saw anything that would suggest that Violet was on a redemption kind of storyline. So it's not easy. It's absolutely not easy. And I understand why a lot of people are put off by this. But, you know, it's also shock value. Felicia, do you think the judges have favored the winner's circle group? Well, that is not just the judges. You know, you have a ton of producers behind the screen, behind the cameras. You have the field producers, you have the junior producers, you have the supervising producers, you have the story producers, you have the senior producers. You have all of these producers who are actually doing a job. You can think of which kind of job it actually is. But, you know, the judges, it is my understanding that they are fed lines through an earpiece. So, you know, this whole thing of the winner circle didn't just happen by chance, because we actually saw that, you know, some queens that were supposed to actually win that lip sync somehow didn't manage to win. So they created this winner circle in the very beginning of the season, and I wouldn't be surprised if they created it for a reason, actually. So yes, I think they favored them. Absolutely. First impression is the one that counts. Sasha says, I feel that Denali will be eliminated by Rosé for storyline reasons, even though we all know that Denali would win it technically. Yes, I agree with that as well. We saw it happening with the Tamisha versus Candy. And who did we saw it happening with as well? I cannot remember, but they always go for these kind of things. And, you know, they basically fucked in front of the mirror. So, you know, of course they're going to go for something like that. It has to. It has to. Mallory Murphy, what do you mean, Lena? Could you elaborate more? Oh, she's talking about Lena Clark. Lena was saying, does anyone else feel that Michelle is really trying to sneak in useful critiques, but is forced to make the useless ones too? She genuinely cares about the queens, so she must be so frustrated. What I do know is of Michelle is that she actually used to go on tour with the queens, and if you listen to what the queens have to say outside of the show, at least in the recent past, was that Michelle was really, really close to them. She was really helpful. She went with them all steps of the way. So I can see it happening. But let's also not forget one thing. Michelle Visage is a multi-millionaire because of this show. So even though she might be frustrated, at the end of the day, if the producer tell her that she has to say specific things, she will say specific things, because that's how she gets her money. So for me, it's inconsequential, the fact that she had actually a good relationship with the queens outside of the race. For what concerns the race, World of Wonder and VH1 are the ones who are paying her, and they are not paying her to be helpful to the queens. They are paying her to go along with the storylines for the season. What else do we have? Groover Horna says, this video should be called Drag Race Season 13, Episode 8. You know, the one where everyone was horny. It's not possible. You know, it would get blocked by the algorithm immediately. Immediately. Blazing Bard, I didn't know about the whole Season 7 situation beside from people not liking it. I started with Season 7 about when Season 10 came out, so interesting to hear from a true veteran. Yes, there was so much going on with Season 7. What shocked me the most at the time, and you will probably won't believe it, but it was not the whole Trixie storyline, you know, with the early elimination and then all this manufacturers thing of coming back thanks to Pearl. And what shocked me was the fact that the queens received a list of runway outfits. I was really shocked by that, because by that point I was so used to watching Drag Race and thinking about the creativity of coming with whatever you have on your luggage and having to adjust it to what the challenge actually is. So some queens had to start suing behind the cameras, even though it was not a suing challenge. Everybody was trying to help everybody. Somebody was landing wigs, somebody was landing corsets. You know, they were really doing their best to actually do a show with whatever they had. And I found that extremely entertaining. So when I saw with Season 7 that magically they had runways that queens couldn't have possibly pulled off without knowing in advance, I was really, really shocked. Much more than when the whole Trixie storyline actually came on. Okay, one moment, so that I don't lose the chat. If you can, please take the time to actually go, you guys, with @TopRPDR videos, because the chat skips at times and I might, you know, lose the chat from a moment to another. But if you go with the @TopRPDR videos, it's highlighted for me in the chat, so it's much easier for me to see it. Where are we? Oh, here we go. Shima Kaido says, okay, I kind of want to ask, where could we watch your other videos that weren't on your alternate site for them? Like the 10 lip sync commandment for the lip sync or something. If you go, I cannot put a link on YouTube because, you know, it's a competitor. So You better watch out for that. But there is a link to the Patreon. If you go, and I stress this out, the Patreon is open to everyone. You don't have to be a supporter. So there is a front page on the Patreon, and there is a link to the Discord and to the backup channel on BitChute, so that you can check some of the older videos. Not all of them, because some were really, they were the really early videos that we made, and they were not fair use, so I avoided uploading them. The other ones would be considered not fair use by our dear company Viacom, but they are still on BitChute, except for the 10 lip sync commandment, because that videos I completely redid it, I updated it. I'm still having issues with a little bit of copyright claims because there is a ton of music on them, and unfortunately I haven't figured them out yet. But the video is basically finished. I just have to edit around this kind of things and maybe redo the intro. That video I actually removed from the backup channel, because I wanted to be a surprise for the new viewers. I actually did a viewing party for the video. I think it was Fantasia, when was it, like 2 weeks ago, on Discord, where we actually watched the video. So you know, sometimes we do this kind of things on Discord. If I have extra time, I will just pop in. Sometimes we have a talk, sometimes we watch something together, and you know, I put in a video and ask, you know, for feedback. What do you guys think about this upcoming video? So stay tuned. It will come really soon. But you know the situation right now with my laptop being the way it is, and I am in a little bit of a time constraint, because after I finish editing this episode of The Chop, hopefully it will come out on Tuesday or on Wednesday if it takes a little bit more of time, and then the little time that I have free, I need to actually open this laptop and check the keyboard for any sign of corrosion, remove the corrosion, and do my best to try to save this laptop, because it served me very well for the past 5 years, and if I can avoid having to buy another one, it would be absolutely great. But you know, the components are so small that there's only so much that you can actually do without a microscope, without the, you know, the appropriate instruments. So I don't know how it's going to go. What I can tell you is that the priority is to get the episodes of The Chop out in time so that people can actually see it, and after that is the lip sync, is the laptop, and then the lip sync commandment. So it's going to take a little bit more of a while, so I'm sorry about that. But you know, unfortunately also we have these copyright claims that are coming in, and as you can hear, I've been a little bit, you know, not necessarily in a bad mood, but today I wasn't really excited about what was going on, because in a matter of 8 hours we got a copyright claim done manually, which means somebody is sweeping through our channel, and I'm expecting more to come. I will probably have to fight one with all the stress that comes with it. And this thing with the keyboard of the laptop, it's been really a forgettable day. It's been a bad day. It really was a bad day. You know, if it didn't have to come on stream, I would probably got drunk and just not think about it. You know, I usually don't drink, but you know, every once in a while it's good to have, you know, a couple more beers. TikTok Meltdown says, who do you think is the best judge, including the guest judges? This is something that was asked actually the last episode, and I can never remember her name, but she passed on. Actually, she was a judge on season 2. She was the one who actually said to Jessica Wilde that the title of her book sounded like The Dreams of a Golden Shower. Somebody googled it, got the name out, but for the love of me, I can never remember names. But she was really nice. You know, she was an established personality. She was very real. It was one of the earliest season of the panel of judges that we actually get every season. I think. Oh my god. I'm starting to forget names. Carlson. Carlson is the best one for me. He really cracks me up every single time, you know, and he's so gay. Is so gay. I'm living for all of it, you know. I like Carlson. He's the one that I like the most out of the four of them. I used to live for Ross, but then by some point I realized Ross is completely sold to whatever they are telling him to say. Like, it is like Todrick Hall. He doesn't give a shit. He runs with the edit 100%. While Carlson and Jamal, as a choreographer, they are more concentrated on the queens themselves. You know, they are more fair in a way. So I prefer them much more. Much more. Sorry, the chat skipped again. Oh, there we go. TikTok Meltdown. If you were to be in the Snatch game, who would you choose? Oh my god. I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't know. I'm not an actor. I'm not an actor, but I would go with something completely as strange as possible, like literally as strange as possible. Grab someone from some remote area of maybe of the scientific field, like I don't know, Alan Turing, who was gay by the way, and literally sissy the fuck out of it. Seneca, wait, what? Why am I now just learning about Sharon Needles? What happened with... Oh god, for a moment I read Sharon Nudes. Beatrice, there were allegation of A on M. I cannot read that. What I can tell you is that the person who brought out this allegation didn't really sound legit. I saw the screenshots like months ago, and it looked like this person was out for clout. Came out with all these outrageous allegations to all of these queens, and in that moment I am thinking, if something like that happened, and if you're really a minor, you just go to the police. You don't even have to pay for a lawyer. They will pay for you. So why the hell didn't you go to the police? If you are confident enough to come clean on social media, then why don't you go to the police? It's not like you have to hire someone. Do you know what happened with Redacted and that victim who alleged that Redacted gave paid for his steroids? Do you remember that one? If he wants to push charges, he has to pay for a lawyer. But for that case with Sharon Needles, they don't have to. And you know, I'm not in the business of not giving people the benefit of the doubt, but right out of the bat, judges by the kind of allegations that were made, judges by the amount of different queens, it just didn't seem probable to me at all. And Sharon Needles said so much shit in the years that if you want to come for Sharon Needles, there are, you just pick one thing out of 1,000. It's not difficult. Gothboy UK, great stream as always. I'm off now because the chat is veering in a dangerous direction. Well, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Let's hope we can get to something a little bit more easy because it's also 1 in the morning. What do we have next? Melanie says, where is it? Jackie Collins? Yes, Jackie Collins. There you go. I always forget her name. Blazing Bart, the hilarious Roth Matthews. Hilarious. Well, he was hilarious back in the day. Jules says, Alan Turing is a national hero. Tia in UK Drag Race paid homage to him in the first episode. I didn't see the first episode of Drag Race UK. I actually watched, I think, the 3rd and the 4th episode, was it? Or the 4th and the 5th? Because I don't have, I don't really have much free time. But we usually discuss it in the Discord. So it's nice to hear, because he is an international hero to me. He was an incredible man. Fantasia, yeah, I know you don't use the stereo app, but there will be a Snatch game on there for next week. I'll post that ad in the Discord when I get more information for anybody who wants to. Yes, sure, go with it. I probably am the only one without a smartphone in here. Blazing Bard says, since Snatch Game is coming up, do you have any interesting predictions? Well, I'm expecting the acting queens to actually do good. Like I'm expecting Tina to do good. I'm expecting Rosé to do good. Simone to do good. But at the end of the day, when the Snatch Game episode will actually come up, like we did last year for season 12, we're going to have a ton of charts. Because Snatch Game is really, really easy to manipulate. Probably among all of the acting challenges is one of the easiest to manipulate, because it's a comedy-based one. So based on the kind of music, based on the kind of reaction shots, something that it's said by somebody can be pushed to be perceived as extremely funny or as completely bombing. And also don't forget that filming for Snatch Game probably lasts for about 1 hour, if not 1 hour and a half. So they have to stay in character the whole time. And if they want to make you look bad, then you absolutely have to do your best to stay in character for however long the Snatch Game actually lasts. Because you know that they will pick and choose that moment in which you are not sissing the fuck out of your character. It will happen. We'll have a ton of, because this is a chart show, so we'll have a ton of charts for the Snatch Game. But naturally, I would be expecting Tina, Rosé, and Simone to do really well for Snatch Game. But it's Snatch Game, it's an acting challenge, so if they want someone else to do good, or they want these queens or others to do bad, they can very easily make them look bad. But of course, we will put a magnifying lens on the whole thing, so we can actually get an idea of how much manipulation is going on in there. So we'll see what comes on next episode. It's going to be a ton of works, but I'm getting ready to it. Sasha says, how ironic you think it was for Jen to be the guest judge for this episode of the Pit Stop. Well, by the way, I know you don't watch it, but I just thought it was hilarious. Yes, I don't watch it. I don't watch any of those reviews coming out from World of Wonder because they are pushing narratives and nothing else. I'm not really blaming it on the queens, because we are still on lockdown. It's good money, it's a paycheck. You have to do whatever you have to do to get by. So it's not a problem. I'm not faulting this on them. But it's still made by World of Wonder. So they are, what I think happens is that they are fed storylines. They are like, they are like on the screen and say, oh, you have to hit this, this, and this note. So no, I don't watch it. I prefer to watch independent reviews if I watch them. When I'm actually doing the show, I try to avoid watching other people because I don't want to kind of get influenced. I want to keep my own specific and singular voice. But out of season, what I usually do is watch other reviews from other people and see if I missed something, if there was something interesting there. But I never really watch anything coming out of World of Wonder, Jules is leaving. Good night, Jules. I'm happy that you were entertained by all of our streams, and thanks for everything. Thanks for the comments. It's always nice. Emily Hall asks, I feel like this might be Elliot's last episode next week. I thought this was Elliot's last episode. You know, I literally had all my money on Elliot going home because of all the queens who are left and had a humanizing moment, but they were not scheduled to get to the top. We are basically left with Tina and Elliot. And it would be so strange to actually have a queen going home at this point without seeing the human side of her. Because remember, Kimora regrew her eyebrows for the allegedly refilmed confessional because she had to talk about her abusive relationship before going home. So, you know, in a way, somebody at World of Wonder thinks that it's important that we see the human side of these queens. And, you know, I'm really happy about that. I usually read the shit out of them, but this is something that I have full respect for because people will respond to this kind of human side of the contestants. So I'm not expecting anybody who didn't receive this kind of treatment, like Utica, for example, to go home without having this kind of moment. So Elliot was really my first choice this episode, without any doubt, more than Tina. Blazing Bard, have you seen the pit stop with Violet? She wasn't giving two shits about the storyline push. Oh well. Respect for Violet on that one. Absolutely respect for Violet on that one. But I don't want to run the risk, you know? I get aggravated when I see these kind of things. So maybe I will check out the app. Now that you told me, I will check that out with Violet and get my life out of it, but I will not just run the risk, you know? Dixie, why do you think they made this season so long? Money. Advertisement, money. That's the only thing I can think of, you know, because every episode that comes out, they have like I saw some of the work that was done by the Gao House on Discord, who actually with Fantasia tracked down all of the advertisement that came out for this episode, and there is so much advertisement. It's like every 10 minutes of Drag Race, there is 5 minutes of advertisement. And it's a ton of money. You know, for a show like Drag Race, a 10-second advertisement can probably cost anywhere between $30,000-$50,000 up to $80,000. That is the basic price range. It's and maybe it might be a little less depending on which kind of episode. Probably the premiere are a little bit more pricey to have an advertisement slot during Drag Race, but this is the kind of money that they get. So the more episode you shit out, the more advertisement money you actually get. You know, and in a way, I'm not really complaining about the double premiere. I like it because it gives me more time to actually get to know the queens. But, you know, this time we basically had a triple premiere. Nobody went home until episode 4. It was a little bit too much. And now this double Shanté out of nowhere, which means one more episode if they don't send away two queens at the same time, which I don't think it's going to happen. You know, already we have 2 more episodes compared to the previous season. And, you know, you make more episodes if you have the money to make them and if you are expecting to make more money. Because more episodes on VH1 means more advertising. So, yes, long story short, money. Money, money, money. Giovanni says, in your opinion, what is the best season in terms of editing? What do you mean by that? Do you mean that the editing was not intrusive, so the show felt really real? Or the season in which the editing was done so well that I actually respect the editors for doing a really great job? Which one of the two do you mean? Or both of them, you know? Mallory, you feel this season was longer than usual? Oh, yes. Yes, it absolutely feels longer than usual. Without any doubt. D15 says, did you see the video of Alexis Stone saying that Michelle Visage told her not to go on RuPaul's Drag Race UK so she avoids getting her image ruined? Well, you know, mad respect for Michelle Visage if she said something like this, because we know that typecasting is a real thing on Drag Race. And even though Drag Race UK has different producers, it's still something that it's done in collaboration with some producers from World of Wonder. At which kind of levels, I don't know, but if you check the credits, you can see that some of the producers for World of Wonder are actually working on Drag Race UK. So they might be learning some tricks from each other. If Michelle said something like that, which is a very good advice, I have even more respect for Michelle for that. TikTok Meltdown said, should we have a moment of silence for Lion, who is gonna get eliminated next week? For Lion? Oh, for whoever is going to get eliminated next week. We'll mourn that next episode, don't worry. Jack V says, yeah, mostly with Bob too. They cut a bunch of his opinions out on the pit stop. Well, Bob is really, really vocal. This is something that, you know, I actually had like a video coming out like 2 days ago, reading the shit out of the things that they said about the fracking, but that for me was an absolute accident, because I love how much outspoken Bob is. He doesn't give a shit. He will say what he wants to say, so I'm not surprised that they would cut him out, because it's, you know, he might be saying too much. But, you know, it's always better to have somebody talks too much and then you pick and choose what you want to show than have somebody not saying enough. That can become a problem. You know, editing can never add. Dixie says, World of Wonder is showing more free content that I have ever seen. I wonder why, LOL. Well, you know, the show, the views for the shows are in decline based on what we see from VH1, even if we include the effect of the lockdown. So they might be pushing a little bit more to have people actually discover the show. I think you are referring to what comes out from World of Wonder on YouTube and all the channels that they have, and they are Drag Race related. There is the RuPaul's Drag Race channel, which I think it's a collaboration for from World of Wonder and VH1. So yes, they might be doing that in order to increase the visibility of the show. The problem is it quality videos? Because it's easy to shit out videos, but you know, if it's not quality, people are just going to watch it for a moment and then call it a day. They're not going to fall in love with a video. You know what I mean? Come back, watch it more than once. Armando Pinish says, sorry for butchering your name, says, there is a rumor around that secret celebrity drag race that was cancelled, and they used that episode to make a bigger season 13 and All-Star 6. That was, that celebrity drag race, it was a bad impersonation of Drag U with celebrities. It was unwatchable. It was absolutely unwatchable. The most unwatchable things that we had was having queens being invited as mentors in the show, and then they were not the ones who were actually doing the contestants' makeup. They hired other queens behind the scenes to do their makeup. And I'm like, what the hell? Can't you at least have these queens be the mentors in the episode? Who cares if they are not, you know, the most famous one? At least they will get some visibility and they can get to show their talent. Instead, we had other queens. It was so boring, you know. I watched the first episode out of curiosity. I tapped out like 10 minutes after the second one. I was like, I'm not subjecting myself to this. I can, you know, it can be better. It can be better than that. What else do we have? Giovanni said, I could listen both from you. Oh, yes, the question for before. I was reading all the other question. Wait a moment, let me see it. The best season in terms of editing. Okay, so the best season for not intrusive editing for me was season 2. Mostly because it was the first season that I actually watched. But also season 1 had a very, very light-headed, as if they didn't really know what they were doing. They didn't really know what they were shooting for doing this brand new show that was a reality centered about drag queens and their kind of heart. So these 2 seasons are really as real as it gets. The edit, it's almost not there at all. When it is, it's completely over the top. Like you had this moment in season 2 where you see Tyra singing with the camera going around her, or the confessional from Raven when she talks about Tatiana and said, well, her look was shit, her makeup was shit, her performance was shit, her book was shit, she's shit. You know, all of these things that are super gaggy. Those were the best season if we're talking about non-intrusive editing. If we talk about masterful editing, it has to be season 5. Season 5 was really an example of editing and casting and story producing done correctly. Everything, while you watch that season, you can see that everything falls into place. All the storylines feel believable. All the characters are actually evolving throughout the show. And the editing is consistent. You never suspect that there is actually something going on behind the scenes. If you are not coming with the idea of spotting the edit, you will not see it in season 5 because it's done so well that you don't even notice it. It's really a perfect example of great casting, producing, and editing for reality television, or as I prefer to call it, unscripted television, because there is very little reality to it. It's done really well. For example, some things came out after season 5, like the fact that Jinx said that she was really, really outspoken, but it was not consistent with her character evolution. So we know that the editors had to take out all of these moments in which Jinx were not passively taking in all of the attacks that she was receiving during the season, because she had to literally explode and complete her redemption arc only at the very end. So at the very end, we see her finally coming back, lifting her head, fighting for staying in the competition, and that is good storytelling. That was a good editing choice to take out all of these moments, because the story is much more compelling if you see someone actually going through difficulties and then finally raising his head. It was really, really well done. If you are going in this kind of job field, you can learn a lot only by watching season 5. It was really one of the best examples of reality television out there. Seneca, please answer the question from Giovanni. Yes, yes, I saw them. Don't worry. Don't worry. I am a little bit slow with going through the chat, but I get through everything. Emily is going. Oh, Emily. Good night, Emily. Thank you for coming. Thank you so much for coming. Okay. Scroll. Da-da-da-da. Scroll. Scroll the chatty. I feel slutty. Giovanni said, no, the word thing was the Hollisley Spectacular, made in 1 day and a half. Then there is Celebrity. Oh, I didn't finish the Hollisley Spectacular. As much as I was excited to see Sonique, I've been waiting for 10 years to fucking see Sonique again. And she's basically the queen I've been waiting the most to see on All Stars. And, you know, for what we are seeing, we probably won't see Sonique for a long time. But the fact that we had Gottmik on this season opens the door to finally see Sonique. After Sonique, Peppermint. And then I will be at peace. You know? at least with trans queens. If we go to cis queens, then I absolutely need to see Darian Lake. Darian Lake, Jocelyn Fox, it's been too long of a wait. Jade from season 1, we've waited too long. But that Hollisley Spectacular, no. I want Sonique back, but I want Sonique bad. Oh shit. I want Sonique back, but I want Sonique back that bad. You know, because the whole Hollisley Spectacular was basically a 1 hour long advertisement for RuPaul's Christmas album. That's what it was. And I refuse to be exposed to advertisement masked as entertainment. No, thank you. If I want an advertisement, I can switch on the television. Mallory, where can I watch the purse stuff? Oh, it's referring to Melanie. Oh, I don't know. But maybe somebody will answer. No, maybe. Don't worry. People will answer in the chat. Dixie, RuPaul's Drag Race is also pushing content from the episode, so you are spot on. I mean, posting the first 15 minutes of each episode talk about catfishing. Well, they need to keep you interested. They don't want you to tap out. It's actually, from a marketing perspective, it's actually a smart move. This is what they are supposed to do. So you might like it, you might not like it, but from a marketing perspective, it's really... it's a smart move because it keeps keeping people invested. You know, you need to come back every day and stay invested on the show. If they come back every week, you will lose some people in the week. So it's good to have them, you know, continuously. A little bit of this and a little bit of review on that. And then you have the review, and then you have the fashion photo review, and then you have the pit stop, and then you have a little bit of sneak peek again of the episode. It's all about keeping you invested. They don't want you to tap out at all. D15 asks, do you think RuPaul got so mad about the H&M thing with Joey Black because she couldn't get her fix while quarantining? Oh, good God. No, you know, since the very beginning of Drag Race, we know that whenever they bring back a queen, they did it because they wanted one more episode, basically. This is my best shot at it. And the queen has always gone home immediately. The only exception were Trixie Mattel, already in season 7, and Tatiana in All Stars. Because Alyssa actually just went home, so she didn't skip any episode. But they basically go home immediately. If they skip too many episodes, they will go home. So when I saw that episode with Joe Black coming back to the competition, and I thought they will absolutely send him home. For the new viewers in the UK that maybe never watched Drag Race and they are approaching the franchise for the first time, they will do the same thing that the show did in the US. So the one that skipped too many challenges will have to go home. And based on the fact that Ru cannot really act, she was unconvincing to me. I knew that, you know, it was all a thing about finding something bad to see about Joe Black. And maybe, you know, RuPaul pushed it a little bit too hard, because we see that H&M is actually selling shirts from RuPaul. So they might have some kind of they probably have a kind of contract behind the scenes, and you don't shit in the plate you eat from. So RuPaul apologized for that. RuPaul apologized. She never apologized for the way queens are treated on the show. She never apologized for the edit. She never apologized for indirectly colluding with a system that was bringing people to the brink of suicide. You don't never forget Brita Filter and what happened to Brita last season. She never addressed the fracking. She never came out with a comforting word when the whole George Floyd thing happened in the United States. She actually deactivated her Twitter account, but she apologized for the H&M thing. Do you see where I'm going with this? Because H&M probably means money. Oh, good God. Good God. Sorry, the chat skipped again. Where was I? Where was I? Oh, I think here. Oh, Armando says, do you believe in the rule of the double bottom two equals automatically not winning the season? Is it a rule, actually? Because, well, last season we had the double Shanté with Heidi and Jackie. But the season before, we actually had a double one with... who was it? Oh, let me... Because I remember season 10, it was Eureka and Cameron Michaels, and they reached the top 4. But in season 11, we also had 2 others from the top who actually were lip syncing against each other. Who were they? Who were they? Oh yes, it was Evie Oddly and oh God. This time of the day, I'm actually missing names. Evie Oddly and oh my God. Brooklyn Heights. There we go. Brooklyn Heights. And they both reached the top 4. So I don't think it's a rule. I don't think it necessarily means that you will not be in the top 4 or you'll be in the top 4. What I think is that based on the kind of edit that they received, both Simone and Candy, they must be in the top 4 by this point. Otherwise, Candy would have simply gone home. She has no other reason to keep staying in the competition by this point. Coffee, why was I calling Simone Sonique for 2 weeks straight? Well, I can tell you, because you have great taste. Mallory, I feel so out of the loop since I'm finding this channel. Yes, you might be. You might be. Blazing Bard, it's time for Darien. It's been time for Darien for so long already. So long. Too long. Lena, I never used Discord before joining this channel. Now I love it because whenever I want to rant about an episode, I can go right there. Well, me neither. Me neither. People, people were asking in the chat, can we have a Discord server? Can we have a Discord server? And I was like, yes, I will check it out. And then our secretary, Fantasia, who is also the moderator for the chat, she actually created a fan-made Discord for the channel, and from that moment on, a ton of people are starting to join. I always have a link in the description. Yes, it's nice. It's nice to vent a little bit, always in a realistic, in a polite way, in a smart way, but yes, it's nice. It's really nice. You don't feel so hangry when things starts to happen. Sasha said, don't forget about Naysha Lopez. She also came back and stayed for more than 1 episode. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Since Trixie, they also tried to have the queens last a little bit longer when they came back. Because, let's not forget, what was it? Season 3, then Season 4, then did we have one no, we had double Shanté in season 6, but both of the queens went home like the moment they came back. It was really like, let's have an extra episode. But yes, you're absolutely right. Poor Naysha, she was treated so bad in season 8, and she's such a beautiful queen. Fun fact, she also was a winner of the Miss Continental. Only cis gay man to be a winner in a long, long time. That was a title usually reserved for trans women. So, you know, she was doing something right. Melanie, Elimination Lopez, poor Naisha. Poor Naisha. Mallory, Ru treats the cast that bad? I've been hearing about that she doesn't even know some of their names. Well, there is nothing for sure. You know, there are a ton of rumors. So you always have to need to take this thing with a grain of salt. But you know, Fantasia actually sent me some links to a Willem a tweet, you know, where she's actually talking about the fact that RuPaul doesn't even want queens to look them in the eyes, because I think he needs to be concentrated. He doesn't want to get distracted. And we also know there is this rumor for years that RuPaul doesn't remember anybody's name. Then there was that interview with Pearl saying that RuPaul told her nothing you say matters unless those cameras are rolling. So it creates an image of RuPaul which can be pretty rude during filming. Now, is it real or is it not real? I don't know. I can tell you what I think that probably happens, and I think that, yeah, Ru is, you know, is there for the check, and that's it. And that's it, you know. If you compare RuPaul from season 1 of Drag Race to what we see today, you can see a completely different person. Like, completely different. There is no comparison. Giovanni said, channel the 2 lip sync rule. If you lip sync 2 times, you don't win. Well, that's not necessarily. Is it true? I don't know. I don't know if that ever happened. Because when I did the 10 lip sync commandment, I actually went through all the lip sync that were ever being done from all the normal seasons and the all-star seasons. But I might have missed something. That's an interesting thing. That's a really interesting thing. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Ta-da-ta-da. Where am I? Oh, YouTube chat, I hate you. Oh, Sasha, it's clarification. The rule is that if a queen lip syncs more than once, then they definitely don't win the crown. Only valid for OG Drag Race, by the way. I never noticed that. You know, I'm so concentrating on other things that I never noticed that. But good find. Lena, this channel isn't top RPDR videos, it's Fantasia's Drag Race. It is. Our secretary is working really hard for the channel, and I appreciate it so much. I mean, the channel is hard work, and every little bit of help that comes really, really is appreciated in any way, shape, or form. I don't make any kind of discrimination on that. Blazing Bard, they never done a returning queen right. Imagine what Max could have done with it. Yeah. You know, whenever the topic of Max comes out, it really always, you know, kind of makes me sad, because Max was really treated so bad by the show, and it had such a huge impact on its life. You know, you hear nothing from Max anymore. Since he did that interview talking about the fact that he was asked to sing, and then the editing, it was all shady to justify the fact that she was eliminated. And then the RuPaul's Drag Race Twitter account 2 years later came out saying, revealed, Mama Ru asked Max to sing, you know? And then he had the whole thing, Max had this whole thing going with his boyfriend called the Max Collective, and it looks like his boyfriend was kind of a douche, and it basically became his manager, but he didn't have the credential to really be a manager. So Max, you know, it was not really doing gig after season 7 came out. It was it went in complete shambles, you know. He doesn't tweet that much at all. Whenever you see the tweets, it looks like she's really hangry. It was an incredibly good opportunity that was completely trashed down the drain. You know, if Max had a good publicist and a good manager after she came out from season 7, they would have advised her to shut the fuck up, go with the flow, make her, you know, if people thinks that she's crazy, then she can turn it around and make a brand out of it and do shows, stay in the spotlight, create a following, and work. That's what she was supposed to do, because by the time Max was on season 7, everybody was absolutely crazy about Max. There was really, the fans were eating her up, no matter what she was doing. She could have taken a dump in during filming, and people would have still hate her up. And you know, it's really, really a bad example of a career that goes down the drain. It was so bad. Dixie, is it fair to say you have a huge crush on Sonique? If so, I don't blame you. I relate 100%. Sonique is beautiful. I fell in love with Sonique when she did her lip sync against Morgan McMichaels. You know, it was so good. It was so good. And then there was that live show when she actually kicked the guy's ass for stealing her tips. And then, you know, when there was the whole trans controversy because of the she-male bit on the show and the female or she-male mini challenge or whatever, and Carmen was going like really, really hard on the show, and Sonique was really chill. She was like, "Listen, it's a joke. We can discuss about the fact that it's not." It can be offensive, but you know, they did it because they believed it was funny. If they know that it's offensive, they will just take it out. No need to make like such a big fuss about it. And I always appreciate when someone is so easygoing, you know, easygoing and down to earth. I am not offended by that. I can understand people can get offended, but let's give them the benefit of the doubt. It was just for a laugh. They will take it out. And that's it. Everything done, everything perfect. I love that. I really love that. I love Sonique. So much love for Sonique. And I don't know if many of you know this, but back in the day, Sonique actually had a crowdfunding to help with her transition surgery. She didn't get that much, but she had it. You know, I felt so sorry for Sonique. It was a different time. It really was a different time. And, you know, unfortunately, there's nothing in place in the U.S. for these kind of issues. But at least times are different, you know? At least if something like this happens on a queen on the show and she asks for support, now the show is so famous and there is so much following online that we can at least actually know that they need our help and actually help. So, TikTok Meltdown says, have you ever had a phobia of accidentally falling asleep while streaming? No. But I thought about a couple of times about what would happen if I would get a stroke while streaming, because I was joking a lot about getting strokes during streaming, and then I was thinking, what if I would really had one? You know, nobody knows who I am. Nobody can call anyone and say, listen, this person is stroking on stream, do something. My partner is sleeping. But then I thought, what the fuck? I'm not 70. I'm not going to get a stroke on stream. You know, I have more chances to actually win the lottery if I played it. So, yes. Moving on. One moment, I need to get another energy drink because it's almost 2 in the morning. My energy level is going down. So I'll be back in 1 second. Sorry. Okay, here we go. Blazing Bard asks, I didn't know about Max. Do you think she might got in trouble after the interview? I wouldn't say might, you know. By contract, if you break NDA, they can push charges on you. So yes, she could have gotten in a lot of trouble for saying something like that, because she basically disproved the fact that the editing was misleading the viewers. You know, for almost 2 years, people kept speculating what did really happen with Max. Was it the editing, or was Max right? Did they do her wrong? You know, because you still had people saying, oh, no, Max was just jealous of the old thing. He lied about it. And, of course, World of Wonder was not happy and he kept her out of any possible collaboration. Until RuPaul's Drag Race felt like it was, the account on Twitter felt like it was basically forced to admit the truth. And they admitted the truth. RuPaul asked Max to sing. Max was not getting crazy in the episode in which she was eliminated. And when you do something like that, maybe World of Wonder will not push charges, because if they have the right to do it, but that will destroy their image. But what they can do is to avoid any possible collaboration with the queen in question. And from after season 7, we never saw anything from Max coming from World of Wonder. And this is what happens if you speak out. And the same is true for so many other queens. So Nick is beautiful, she is. She is beautiful. Johnny Boy Toy 12 says, has everyone watched since season 1 like me? No. I actually managed to watch season 1 like years after it came out, because it was called the Lost Season at the time. I could not find it anywhere at all. So I managed to watch it actually after season 7, I believe. After season 7 or after season 8, but that was the timing. D15, oh my god, you dying on stream would be iconic. It would be WoW production getting back at you. Let's not exaggerate on that. I'm not that old. Giovanni says, easy, someone could take your IP and then find your address. It's 2021. Where would they find my IP address? You know? I am actually streaming through YouTube, and the same is true through Discord. You know, you have to actually contact an ISP, and then you can get a basic idea. But yeah, it would be very difficult. It would be very difficult to actually isolate and say, okay, there is a person who is not feeling good in this apartment, in this city, in this nation. You know, but let's not talk about this kind of things. I'm not getting a stroke, don't worry. TikTok Meltdown says, it's definitely not 5 energy drinks anymore. I think we're up to 6 or something. This is the 5th on my desk. You know, but I need it. I need it because it's 2 in the morning. I slept 5 hours tonight, maybe got half an hour of sleep this afternoon, and I couldn't do this without, you know, a little bit of help. A little bit of help. Sasha says, can you even sleep after all those energy drinks? Also, I still don't believe that you have it by itself. Still don't believe that you have it by itself. Maybe with some of Ru's Matt's visual. Yes, I can sleep after all of these energy drinks, but not immediately. Like I usually stay on stream for 3 or 4 hours. Like now it's like 2 in the morning. So we will probably stay here maybe another hour talking back and forth. And but you know, since the time I get my last energy drink, it usually takes about 2 hours, 2 hours and a half. I cannot fall asleep immediately, that is for sure. So I take my time to clean up the desk a little bit, having something to eat, go to the toilet, smoke a cigarette, check out whatever is going on with the channel, you know. No, I cannot fall asleep immediately. It's just too much. It's just too much. Actually, maybe I should change my schedule a little bit because I'm really having too many. Last time I was on stream, by the time the stream finished, I had such a pain in my stomach because energy drinks are actually really acid. So I had dinner at 8, and then I kept drinking energy drinks until 3 in the morning. So by that time, my stomach was basically empty. I was getting all of this acid drinks, and I had such a bad stomach ache. Like it was really bad. So I need to change my schedule a little bit so that I don't need so many kicks, you know, to stay awake during the live stream, because live stream is arguably the best part of doing this channel. This is something that I will never get tired of saying, you know, staying here and talking and having a back and forth and then talking on the Discord, and you know, you kind of get this feeling of community from it, especially in this time of lockdown, and that is much more rewarding than actually having videos that are watched by, I don't know, 20 or 30,000 people. This is more rewarding than that. So, you know, I really want to stay here, do my best, do my show, enjoy my time, but maybe I should change my sleeping schedule a little bit in the weekend so that I don't need to, you know, get so many energy drink to actually stay awake. Where am I? Blazing Bar says, I've never seen the show breaking the fourth wall like that. What do you mean? What do you mean? I think breaking the fourth wall is like an idiom. It's like going out of... Oh, you're talking about the Max situation. The Max situation. Yeah, it was unbelievable. It was. I was actually shocked when that episode aired. It couldn't be true. Blazing Bar, since they don't really want to tell their location, I wouldn't feel good making suggestions. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I would really appreciate it. You know, it's not like our life depends on it, but it makes me feel much more comfortable because, you know, the world is full of crazy people, and at the end of the day, there have been example after example after example of people who simply come and tell you things how they are, who share their opinions, and they get a ton of shit from the outside world, which can get into your private life. It can get you fired. It can interfere with your real life. So this channel is my hobby, but if we risk losing our ability to live, to survive and live, then the hobby is not worth it anymore. I would prefer, that is the only reason. I don't take anonymity as an excuse to shit on everything. I try to be very responsible with it. But what I want to do is just the right to share my opinion and don't having people trying to destroy my life just because they don't agree with it. So yes, I appreciate it, you know. Coffee, make Fantasia your emergency contact. Don't worry. If something was ever going to happen in here, it would really take a moment to share my address or my number. So don't worry. Lena, the channel needs an Amazon wish list. It'll have a dry laptop and 50 pack on little energy drinks. Well, thank God they are cheap. You know, they are cheap. When you pay like 23, 24 cents, sometimes it's 21, sometimes it's 25. But when you pay 25 cents for an energy drink, you can get a ton of them with very little money. Yes, granted, I drink like 10 a week. So in a month, it's like 40 energy drinks. My partner drinks them. It's like 50, but you know, for a top of 25 cents, it's like 13 euros per month in energy drink. So, and they work. They taste almost as the real thing, the brand thing. So no worries about that. Blazing Bard says, so together we finished 6 cans of energy drinks. And a third-ish cigarettes. Oh, you bitch. I just had one. I just had one because I don't smoke in the house. So I try to really enjoy when we have the pause, you know, after or immediately before the speculations, I have my cigarette. And after that, I can only vape because we don't smoke I'm the only smoker. I don't smoke in the house. But yes, the first thing after the streaming is done is go outside, smoke a cigarette. Giovanni said, Matt's stomach, please hand me. Don't worry, this time I did my best to actually eat a little bit more before coming on stream so that I would keep, you know, on a full stomach. I wouldn't keep drinking. And you know, as you go on with age, you need to kind of note this thing because age catches up with you one way or the other. So you have to, you know, take care of yourself a little bit better because, you know, the truth is that we won't be 18 for the rest of our lives. Unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on the point of view. Lena Clark says, you might want to look into the energy drink powder Sneak. I know it has way less sugar and stuff than most energy drinks, so it might be easier on your turn. I'm drinking the sugar-free ones, actually. And I think that the sweeteners in there actually enhance the acidity, so I could probably be better off by drinking the ones with actual sugar in it. But I don't know, today was really a crazy day. I didn't sleep very well tonight, and this afternoon my laptop completely fucked it up while I was preparing the materials for the stream. And I was lucky, that we had this fucking, how is it called, this fucking keyboard, which is basically trash. I'll probably buy a new one next week, but at least I had something that I could use to work. And then the copyright claim came, it was, so I thought, I don't give a shit, I'll just have my energy drink. Sasha says, we won't have a stream next week, right? Also, in 2 weeks is going to be the anniversary of the first stream. Are we going to do something to celebrate? Well, I don't know what we could do to celebrate. If it doesn't imply more work, yes, we can do something. But why wouldn't we have a stream next week? I mean, if If my laptop dies, yes, we will probably not have a stream next week. But let's try to be positive. Let's try to, think that everything will be good. Just the keyboard died, and that's it. Everything else will keep working. I will have a proper external keyboard that doesn't go like this. So let's hope for the better. Okay. So yes, I think we're going to have a stream next episode, and we could think about where, if you have any ideas, suggest it on the Discord. I'm open to anything. Why not? We can celebrate a little bit 1 year of this damn show, of this fucked up show. Giovanni says, when you find 25 cents energy drinks, you're going to be more radioactive than Russia. Well, it's a great price. It works for me. I don't know if it will give me cancer, but I don't plan on using them for too long. I still have hopes that one day this channel might actually pay the bills. So maybe one day I can just work part-time and, devote the other half of the week to the channel. And so when it comes to the weekend, if we have the streams, I could actually wake up at 2 in the afternoon and not give a shit, and then don't need the energy drinks to actually come on stream. Because, if you wake up at 2, and then you can stay awake until 4 in the morning, then who cares if on Monday you sleep until 3 or 4 in the afternoon? Who cares? It's not like you have to go to work, We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I don't that this is not, I cannot do this long term. This is for sure. I don't know what I'm going to do for All Stars when it comes out. If we will just have the streams or also the episodes. I need to see how things are actually evolving. I need to see about that. We will have something for All Stars. Probably the streams will stay there 100%. I don't know about the amount of materials that I will get for the streams. I don't know if I will make episodes. I really don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll go with the flow. Dixie, I'm coming out of the age closet because it's healthy for me. Here goes, I am 60. And you don't look a day older than 38. You're not even 40 in our minds, Dixie. Don't worry. Sasha, next week we won't have a proper episode. It's just a COVID special. That's why I said, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Then maybe next week we can celebrate in advance instead, Why not? Let's see on the Discord. Let's discuss that thing on the Discord. I didn't know that. That's because I didn't get... Oh, because in the episode that I got, not only I didn't have the credits, I also didn't have the preview. Then where did I see the preview with the confessional? Oh, on Twitter. I saw it on Twitter. The preview with the confessional of Rosé coming back again next episode. Okay. I didn't know that. Well, we'll have a stream. Why not? We can just chit-chat. Shit a little bit on this COVID special. Why not? We'll be here. Don't worry. Lena, we've been trying to tell you that next week it's not a normal episode. It's COVID special, and how they recorded during... Oh, I should probably not say that word so much on YouTube. Okay, sorry. Sorry. Fantasia, the reason they asked it's because the... Oh, yes, I got it. I'm so sorry, I lose things around. Understand me. It's like it's late. I had a terrible day. I had a terrible day. It's late. And, you know, I am expecting to get worse in the next week. From all fronts. Seneca, all right, I'm going to go off. I have 3 exams to study for this week, and 1 is tomorrow. Well, good luck. Thanks for coming. Good luck. TikTok Meltdown says, how will you feel if someone is watching this on their laptop, on their tub, and having a bubble bath? Except nothing bad happens to them. I hate you. Plain and simple. I hate you. You know, when I came back to the tub, the water was cold and there were no bubbles anymore. So, you know, I felt bad by draining all the water. I just added some hot water and had a normal bath without my laptop, without anything going on, without bubbles. I still can't believe it happened. I still can't believe I was so stupid to never consider the possibility that you could slip in the fucking tub and have water going all over the laptop, you know? Use something to raise it, at least, you know? It was really stupid. It was really stupid on my part. You know, in a way, I don't feel that bad because when I chose this laptop 5 years ago, I really thought a lot about the machine that I wanted to have. I checked everything. I checked the specification. I tried to predict the usage that I would do, which kind of things I was willing to spend a little bit more money, like setting for a little bit of a lower graphic card, get a little bit more RAM to last as long as possible. And it really served me well for these 5 years. I was hoping to get a couple more years out of it. So that's what I'm pissed, but you know, all in all, I'm happy with what I have. I know that people buy laptops and after 3 years it's basically ready for the trash. Where are we? Oh, there we go. TikTok Meltdown. Just in memorial. I'm gonna take a cold shower in memory of your bad luck. You know, after I release the episode, I will open the machine again and really do my best to try to recover it and try to fix it. Because at the moment I am getting the problems from the keyboard and the touchpad. So if I can somehow access because it looks like there is a problem in the data line that comes from the keyboard, as if it's getting interference from somewhere and it's translating that interference as actual signal coming from the keyboard, so actually presses of the keyboard. So what could have happened is that some of the water was still there. It was soapy water, so it was even more conducting. And while the laptop was on, all that electricity going through different components that were shorted out by the soapy water might have created a little bit of corrosion, you know? The water kind of went through hydrolysis, you know? It plated out the components, and that kind of created some shorts. So if I can actually access it and see what's going on, I can clean it up. It's not too late. It's not even been a week. And now the keyboard is disconnected, so no electricity is going in there to actually make things worse. So if I can find where the problem is, maybe I can solve it. You know, I'm still holding on that there is still a possibility that that I can do something with it. Oh, I realized I never removed this chart from the stream. So I'm being positive, I'm preparing for the worst, but I'm trying to be as positive as I possibly can, because, sometimes you just don't take it up the ass. Sometimes you get to be the top, if you know what I mean. Fantasia, I missed what happened to your laptop. Well, do you remember on Discord when I said maybe see you on Sunday? But and I kind of phased it out as a joke, if you will join basic, but I had an accident with the laptop. I flooded my laptop because I fell in the tub. I didn't hurt myself, a little bit on the ass, but nothing to be worried about, but I flooded my laptop. So I had to dry it as best as I could. I washed it, double washed it with alcohol, dismantled everything, dry everything. But this laptop has the keyboard that it's riveted to the chassis, so I couldn't really get in there and clean everything. So today my keyboard was acting up, and I couldn't work. I couldn't prepare for the stream at all. I was I had continuously random presses from different parts of the keyboard that were interfering with editing the images. It was crazy. I can show you an image. I had to actually open up the machine again and manually disconnect the keyboard and the touchpad and get an external one to actually work for the channel. So it's been a stressful day. It's been a kind of a stressful day. Sasha, you were just leaving your fantasy and didn't see how things could go wrong. I'm fine once I dropped my phone on the toilet because it was in my pocket. But phones today, they are made to be water resistant, at least at specific pressures for specific times. So, it's still disgusting that you dropped it in the toilet, but, you get a pair of gloves, get the phone out, wash it for a moment, and then switch it off, leave it, on the heater a little bit, but you can get away with it. My laptop had water inside, It was still, of course, it was still on, because whenever you get water in there, unless it's completely underwater, it will still stay on, because corrosion, it's not something that happens from a moment to another, nor are shorts. Especially because soapy water is more conductive, but water is not like a good conductor. The problem happens later on. If you don't dry it over time, the humidity that's in there will actually corrode your machine and bring it to fail. So, with the phone in the toilet, you still have very good chances to actually save it, if it's one of the newest phone. With a laptop that literally you bend it and you have water coming out of the holes where the speakers are supposed to be on the inside, that it's bad. That's really bad. I am lucky that this kind of things interest me a lot. They are one of my hobbies, so I had an idea of what I needed to do to give my machine the best chance. But it was so stupid. It was so stupid. I cannot stop thinking about it. It was so stupid. Blazing Bard, time to go to bed. I had a blast chatting and kicking with you all. See you next week, hopefully. Hopefully see you next week. You can also, bump in the Discord if you will. And we can all vent together in there. But thank you for coming, and I will see you next time. Dixie, our group, if our group ever runs out of things to talk about. Oh my god, what a terrible day. Sasha, it was a few years ago I lost my phone because of it. Well, listen to my advice. If you have any electronic device that Not the newest phones, because that is another thing. But if you have your laptop, if you have an older phone, if you have a pad, whatever it is, and you get water in it, the thing that you have to absolutely do is open up the machine, film everything so that you can backtrack whatever you are doing, film everything. But you need to open the machine and you need to actively dry it. If only water fell on it or coffee, whatever it is, try to wash it out as best as you can by removing the electricity, removing the battery, and have everything wash out. Water will not ruin your electronics. The presence of water plus electricity will ruin your electronics. So open up the machine and dry everything and clean everything as best as you can. And don't be stupid like I was, that I didn't leave my machine actually dry on the heater for a full couple of days. I should have done that. I didn't. I felt too confident in my abilities, and I'm paying the price of it twice. I was stupid not once, I was stupid twice. But you can trust me, I'll never make an error like this again. At all. Fantasia, I didn't hurt myself. Maybe a little bit on the ass. A lot on the pride and electronics. I'm an idiot. I'm really an idiot. Lena, a lot on the ass and a lot on the pride is a great name for a gay sexy shop. Dixie, I missed our little mice. You know, I actually have a picture of my partner actually printed some nice pictures of Marble. They are behind me. He printed them too big, so she looks like she's actually bigger of what she used to be. No, we are not having any little ones. Not for a while still. I still want to find the time to work on the cage, update it, make it in a real rich environment. And after that, we will get new ones. Actually, Dixie, I wanted to show you something, because for Valentine's Day, my partner actually sent me some videos of Marble. I wanted to show you one, but at this point I don't even know where did I download it. Where did I download it? It was really cute. Where is it? Where is it? I'll find it in a moment. Well, maybe even a little bit more than a moment, but I will find it. Oh, there she is. There she is. One second. Oh, there it is. One moment, I'll take a screenshot and I'll show you. This I cannot show you the video because that's actually our faces in the video, and you can hear us saying our real names, but I can show you a screenshot. There it is. Okay, let me load it in the streaming. OBS. It's here. Where's the image? There we go. There she is. So what we did was I created the small containers insulated on the inside, and I planted some grass, some real grass for Marble. And so she had this huge wall of real grass going through the whole length of the cage, and she loved it so much. You know, I can grant you that by the second or third date, there was soil and dead grass everywhere. But I can grant you that she had the time of her life. Oh, little marble. Little Marvel. She was really sweet, like really, really sweet. And I will never forget when she got, it was last summer, and we stopped doing the job for a week because Marble developed mites and she needed to be treated, and we needed to, you know, like sand the whole cage again and redo it completely and disinfect it. And so she had a temporary area on our dining table for like 10 days. And we actually had our lunches on the sofa or on the bed. Because, you know, the study was a complete mess. There was sawdust everywhere because I was sanding this fucking cage all of the time. Looking back, it was a precious moment, you know. It was really, really cute, and I'm happy we gave her the best possible life that we could. And she was a cute mouse. She was a cute mouse, and, you know, in a way, people will see them in the logo, and in a way, it will change the way they will feel about mice, you know? Maybe not enough to ever have them as pets, but it will have an influence. It will have some sort of influence, and maybe that's good enough. Maybe that's good enough. And, you know, I don't care if people say, what the fuck are mice doing in a RuPaul's Drag Race logo for a channel? That's because I don't give a shit. Dixie, I only allow myself 3 days to beat myself up over anything, and then I let it go. Otherwise, you will have a heart attack before you're 60. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You know, I'm not really beating myself up. At least I don't feel like I'm beating myself up, but I keep thinking, it was so stupid. Why would you do something so fucking stupid? You know, but then, you know, I try to not think too much about the stupid things that I do, and more about how can I recover from it. How can I be sure to do my best to get out of this situation? So I'm not really beating myself up, because I don't feel really, it's not like I feel guilty about what happened. I'm not excruciating myself. I'm more pissed about the fact that it was so stupid. I don't know if I'm, you know, if the message is getting, it's not really an emotional thing. It's more of a rational thing. How can you be that stupid? Sasha, I have too many cats to have a mouse, but I found them adorable. Oh, Coffee, I love this story. It's so cute. Well, we cannot have dogs in this apartment. It's not allowed. We could have a cat, but the problem with cats is that when we visit my family, for example, in the summer, we leave for a couple of weeks. So what are you going to do? You're not going to bring a cat on an airplane. And my parents-in-law are not really fond of cats. Actually, my mother-in-law is really fond of curtains and carpets. So you can imagine that the cat would not be really welcome in that house. Of course they would keep it, but you know, it would be a tragedy. And most of all, you cannot leave your pet alone for 2 weeks in an environment that it doesn't really know. And you know, with mice it's much more easy. It's always an exercise on letting go, because they have a very short lifespan. But it's much more easy because they are very independent. They are happy if you have a good relationship with them. If you tame them, then they are happy to have the interactions. Otherwise, they don't give a shit. They have their habitat. They are living their best lives in there. And if you're there or not, they don't care as long as there is water and food. So they have an alternate cage at my parents-in-law, and whenever we go back to visit my parents and my family, we bring them back to my parents-in-law, and they stay in those cages, and it's pretty smooth. They have no problem with it. Lena says, I miss having pets, but I can't have any in my current apartment. I grew up with cats and had them all my life. Now I have no little bastards. To sleep on my feet or chewing on my charging cable. Well, technically, we couldn't have mice in this apartment. Technically, but who is going to know? Dixie, my cat record was 7. That's a lot of cats. That's a lot of cats. Sasha, you used to have 14 cats. You only have 10. My God, do you even have time for all of them? I mean, I understand the more the merrier, especially if you're taking them out from the street. I completely understand that. But at some point, I realized, for example, that I don't really have time to spend time with my pets, you know? It feels like you're kind of holding back on the relationship because you have so many things going on and you actually don't engage too much. Maybe with mice it's a little bit different, but with dogs, for example, if you don't engage with them, it's like it really impacts on their life. Fantasia, you know you love the chat. I've watched 2.5 movies while we are talking. Lena, the chat is all of our social... Oh, you're so... Yes. It's our social hour during quarantine. No wonder we're all attached to it. Yes. So true. Fantasia, you all are a great group of people. Hope you have a good week and your electronics love us enough to work. Yes. Oh, yes. Little ones. Yeah, it's great to have pets. If you can save them, it's even better. Sasha, I'm not the one that actually takes care of the cats in here. It's my mom, and she's close to all of them, but they don't need much attention. Oh, that's true. Cats are pretty independent. But my parents used to have a cat, and she was more of a dog than a cat. She was actually raised by the dogs. And she really had like an emotional meltdown when my parents would leave. You could really tell that the cat was feeling alone. The cat was resentful. Whenever they would come back from vacation, the cat was she would pee around and she was absolutely distant. You could tell that she didn't digest the fact that she was left with other people taking care of her. You know? One of our family friends actually went to the house twice a day to keep an eye on the cat. So it's not like the cat was brought to another house or didn't have any kind of human contact, but she was really resentful. You know, it just didn't happen once. It happened every time. Beatrice, I had 2 cats now. Used to have 7. You need someone that can go every day or every other day to change the litter, give them food. Yes. You know, this family friends, she actually had 5 cats at the time, all black ones. and you know, she was really into taking care of the cat, so she would go there twice a day. TikTok meltdown. One time my cat wanted to eat my dead fish. The reason I said that is because she successfully did it. I couldn't imagine having a cat and having mice at the same time. Most of all, because in order for the mice to have a good change of hair, our cage is an open cage. There is no net. Mice have a very good sense of gravity, so if they're not, you know, like baby mice or very, very elderly mice, they will never jump out of the cage at all. And I'm talking about elderly mice that had some kind of stroke, you know, some kind of mental trauma, and they end up jumping outside of the cage. They would never do it. The problem is, if you have a cat lying around, then the cat will jump in the cage. So cat is absolutely out of the question. Dixie, you and your partner are such wonderful fathers. That's the only opportunity we'll probably get to have. Baby mice. Dixie, I remember that. I was so worried Marble would be so itchy. She actually had to be treated 3 or 4 times for those damn mites, you know? And we really do our best to keep everything clean. We disinfect. We have isopropanol, not normal alcohol, to disinfect the cage, because we want to be sure that everything will evaporate. There will be no smell, because with normal alcohol, it's not 99%. At best, it's like 95%, and either you buy the drinking alcohol with all the taxes because it's drinking alcohol, or you have to get the denaturated thing that has colorants and the smell to it, and you know, mice are really sensitive to the smell. We really go above and beyond, and I actually enjoy doing it. And she got mites anyway. It was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. Coffee, I watch while I do my week reports, and then I have to go to I leave work to go home, and I love it. My reports are much better. Felicia, the chat keeps me company when I'm doing housework. Everything was the same as last week, except I didn't take a smoke break. Oh, you bitches. I'll take a smoke break like really soon. Really soon. Groover Horner said, I've missed most of the stream, just joining it before I go to sleep, but what would you rate this episode? I would give it a solid 7 out of 10. Closer to an 8 than a 6. Because it was out of this world. It was, how can I say, it was hilarious for all the wrong reason. Dixie, thank you so much for that. You really made my day. Oh, you're so welcome. I'm happy to share the little ones. I'm really happy. I knew you would appreciate it. So I wanted actually to show it last time, but then I didn't have time to actually, you know, get the image and so on. And I kind of forgot about it, but you know, I had it there in the back of my mind. Dixie, I have a 100-pound Labrador, and I love him desperately, but I don't love him any more than the small creatures I had. Mice in particular, and so intelligent and very loving, yes. Unless it was Marble. Marble was intelligent, loving at times. She was really, really independent. Really, really independent. The only moment I got to actually hold her in my hands for more than 2 seconds before she would run away was her last day, when I was checking her, because I realized that something was wrong with her. So I was checking her out, and that was the only time. She was really, really independent. But you know, you get what you get, and you work with whatever you get. So it was wonderful with her as well. She was really active, really curious, really smart, not very loving to us, but you know, in a way, she was, you know, she was special, no matter how she was. Dixie, calling yourself stupid is beating yourself up. Well, no, I'm not saying that. I don't think that I am stupid, but that thing was really stupid. I was leaving my bathtub fantasy, and I didn't think about anything else. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Groover, I have a feeling you liked this episode because you thought everyone was horny. Well, it was really stupid as the way I saw it, you know. I didn't take it too seriously. I just went with it. It was fun. It was innocent fun, you know. I preferred it much more than some other episode. There is no doubt about it. Sometimes I project a little, but then again, who doesn't? TikTok, extremely important question. Which came the first, the chicken or the egg? That's a trick question, because what came first was a superposition of chicken and egg. And based on quantum fluctuations, the probability curve would collapse either on the chicken or on the egg. There you have your answer. Okay, guys. Time to go to smoke, time to prepare for sleeping. Thank you so much for joining. Before I get the episode out, if we get any more copyright claims, I will put all of the videos on the BitChute. So at least they will still survive there. If you are in the US. If you are not in the US, they are still available on YouTube. The only thing that changes is that there won't be any ads. They cannot be monetized. So in a way, it's also even better for you. But for everybody else, I will have a copy uploaded on BitChute. So at least these videos can still survive. And then we will see what happens. We will go with the flow and try to do the best with whatever we get. Follow us on Twitter, come to the Discord, support us on Patreon if you can, give an upvote, whatever it is, really, whatever it is. And I will see you next week for, you know, a little bit of chilling, hopefully, and see what happens with this special for more money. We'll see about that. But thank you so much for coming, and I will see you next week, or on the Discord around Thursday. Have a great day, or a great night, or a great morning, depending on where you are, and I will see you next week, okay? Goodbye, guys. Thank you so much for coming.